Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
You are listening to Wednesday Comics, brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com, Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles, and WednesdayComics.com.
Keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my left, we have Steve Trevor himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello, everyone.
And across from me, the God of War, Aries. How you doing?
Let's fight everybody.
Garrett. And I am your Wonder Woman of the Wednesday Comics podcast, Marvin. You know why?
Of course.
Because you got a lasso?
Damn my God.
Or that.
I have a lasso?
I don't know, do you? You got a rope from your headphones?
I always
to
see
your,
people use a lasso. By the way, she uses awesome that movie. We're going to review Wonder Woman here in a second. Double feature today, baby. But I always see people in real life who use a lasso, and I was like, that looks fucking easy. And then you get a rope, and you're like, this is fucking hard.
Yeah, real hard.
Well, that's
what
like when
is
I
this,
see
swinging
people
around
use
a rope?
nunchucks. Yeah,
Yeah, like nunchucks too. You're like, that looks fucking
I could
easy.
do that. Groin shot.
Hit yourself in the head.
No way. See, I got to save it for the review, but the way she uses that lasso,
Yep.
damn, it's awesome.
You know what? It is. We don't have free talk today. We
We got too much stuff to go.
So why don't we just get into our review of Wonder Woman?
You're a man.
Yeah. I mean, do I not look like one?
You have been my greatest love. Be careful, Diana. I do not deserve you.
First, let's for like a few minutes here, just spoilers free.
Oh, we're doing the movie right now. I thought we were doing
Yeah.
the review of the
No.
annual. My bad.
The movie.
I totally win.
So spoilers free. If you haven't seen it yet, this is the part you gotta listen to. See if you want to go see it or not. I really liked it. I don't think it was perfect, but I did really like it.
Redeeming factor for DC.
Thank God. Thank God. No. Well, thank
damn
God. And Jeff Johns.
About damn time.
You know- So, it's interesting because it's like it feels like it is 90% their new direction.
yeah.
And it feels like 10% of leftover stuff from the old.
That they're just trying to if this was for you, this is still
It's like-
part of it, technically.
But we planned this already. And he's like, all right, you know what I mean?
right.
It feels like Jeff Johns got away with a lot, and he's executive producer on this movie, but that's all he did. But I from what I've heard, him and Patty Jenkins did a lot to revamp this thing.
Right.
It does feel like he got like most of what he wanted, and then some of it they were like, I put this in there too, and he's like, all right, if you get that, then I get this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, that's how they do it, like with the comics. Like, I guess that was more like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, but same
We'll get
thing,
into-
like trade kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll get into more specifics, but like one point, I think I can say it's not really that much of a spoiler. The old Wonder Woman theme like shows up in one scene. It works
BVS.
well, and then from Batman vs Superman. The other one, it feels like they just put it in there.
Right.
You know, and that felt like that 10% where they're like, but she's got to fight to that theme song. We pay money for that shit.
Yeah. I didn't think they would put that in there because, like,
I didn't think
you
so
think
either.
it would just be like trailer bait.
I thought that was going to be like the new score because that's her past thing, and then they would save that stuff for the new stuff. But I guess
Right.
they were just like, hey, remember this?
Yeah, but she does have a good song.
It's good.
It's a good riff.
We'll talk about it more. I think it's good. They make good use of it once, and then the second time they use it, I was like, all right.
Right.
It could be more epic if it was actually that score, which is great. I thought the score was great.
Score was fantastic. It's by Harry Gregson Williams' brother, Rupert Gregson Williams.
That's what I saw his last name. I was like, I wonder if he's related to Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brothers.
Who is a protege of Hans Zimmer
Absolutely.
and did the
Lord of the Rings
score.
score. Well, no, not Rupert. but his brother did.
No, that's Howard Shore.
Well, that's Howard Shore. You're right. Who's
But the
Chronicles of Narnia? You did that score.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
And also Metal Gear Solid, the new one. 4. Not the new one, 4. I thought the action was great in this movie.
Right.
There was one part where I was like, it worried me. It was like the first action scene, whatever it was. I forget what it was. And I was like, I can't really tell what's going on.
If I was getting nitpicky, it'd be little Texas Ranger.
A lot of slow-mo.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So if you don't like slow-mo, be prepared.
Right. Maybe just close your eyes real quick and it'll still be happening.
I think the slow-mo is like, that was a 10% where I was like, that seems like Zack Snyder fighting. Slow-mo.
Yeah, that was a little too much.
There are some scenes, though, where it's not slow-mo, and those are great.
Oh, man. The choreography, like when you see the fight scenes, like you actually feel like you want to like punch with them when you're doing it.
I actually had that a few times where my leg would jerk when she would kick. I was like, oh, okay.
There was one part, which we gotta wait till the spoiler section, that I thought was just the best part of the movie for me.
By the way, this is not to do with Wonder Woman, but you just reminded me. I asked a friend of the show and in my life, of Reza, when I was sitting next to him, I was like, would you go to a movie theater if it was like all VR, like you sat down in the seat and you put the VR thing on and you were like in the movie?
Oh, heck yeah.
Because what you just said, you were actually fighting. Imagine if like you were actually on that beach.
Yeah.
Would you go watch a movie where like every scene you're like actually in the scene?
Talk about like a $50 movie
I
experience.
think, I think it'd be one of those things, providing I wasn't, if I seen through my own eyes watching this action, not that I was.
Yeah, it's not going to be a
fight. Yeah, where I wasn't fighting. My arms aren't swinging around in the movie. Yes, but I'd have to be.
Yeah, you'd have to be an arm restraints.
I honestly would probably have to have something to hold on to so I don't swing. Because
I brought that up and I was like, but it'd also be weird because I would be paranoid that somebody's going to like try to like mess with me. So you would have to have like individual cubes that you would get locked.
Gosh, like a cubicle.
Yeah, and you would lock up and then you would do it. Which you're right, would be expensive. Right. Anyway,
how would you eat popcorn? You would just see like I guess you wouldn't.
I wouldn't eat popcorn. My things I wouldn't eat though. I'd be too busy. No, my only thing is that
it'd be like
maybe it's liquid popcorn.
It's like Tokyo Ghost. Pipe it in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's the main reason for me, at least. I give this. I'm going to give it a 9. The main reason why it's not a 10, I thought some of the dialogue was too heavy-handed. It's like on nose. Now that's only I think the last act or the last once they introduce the main villain, which I'm not going to spoil here. I think actually I got this spoiled for me.
Yeah, I got that a long time
last night.
Oh,
I didn't know until last night.
Ah, damn! I got that spoiled when they released the toy for it. Like,
see, now the thing, I hadn't seen toys, I hadn't seen Legos, I haven't seen anything, but right at the beginning of the movie, I already figured out who it was.
Yeah, I did too. I knew. That's the thing. I didn't know who it was, but I assumed. I mean, obvious. But like when they brought up his name, I was like, I actually didn't know that he was even in the movie.
Right.
But yesterday, I watched a video that was like, what was it about? Like Great Wonder Woman story. So it was like a video, and right away it was like, by the way, since this guy's in the movie, and I was like, what the fuck? Right away,
spoil it for you. That's why you never click on articles the day before a movie.
I thought the actor who played him, it was kind of weird that he had a mustache, and it seemed weird that was the choice. It seemed more like it was to throw you off, be like, this is him.
He has to fit in that time period, though. I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that you need facial hair to do that.
I actually thought it was great. We should get into spoilers because
sure. Well, let's just do a nice send off for the spoiler free. Basically,
so what's your guys' rating?
I'm going to give it a 9.
I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8?
I was actually, there were things I liked about it, but there were more things that's like, it's kind of, it reminded me of Civil War the first time I watched it, or even the first Captain, the first time I watched it. It seemed slower than I expected. There was things
slow.
I actually like that about it.
There was a long.
It takes its time to.
There was a long lull of her not fighting, and I don't mean in Captain America, in her outfit. I didn't need that, but there were a few things I was like, okay.
See, actually, that's what I like about the movie. That it takes time to develop her character. That's not just her fighting.
Right.
It takes time to
let you connect with her.
There's a scene you've seen it in the trailers when she's getting new clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that scene was great because it takes time to, make you like laugh with these people, see that she's like the fish out of water, and then like, you relate with that person more during those moments than you would in an action scene. So I think it's great that they basically took the time to step up the ladder rather than being like, let's just jump to the top right away. Let's just this is why and that's what Batman vs Superman felt like it was missing, was a lot of that setting up.
Oh, insane.
Right.
Even they didn't have enough fighting in Batman Superman anyway.
No, but everything
it had
was,
too much. They had too much just talking and not enough character.
Everything was, hey, we got to tell you this story point. Hey, we got to tell you this story
Yeah,
point.
this
Where in
was
Wonder
the
Woman,
Iron Man 2. I mean, BVS was the Iron Man 2.
Yeah, where Wonder Woman, it felt like there were a lot of scenes that were just like, this is for character development.
Yep.
This is for
Right.
character development.
Well,
And
characters have always been their strong point. Like, you know how Marvel's always like, story is ours. It's
Yeah.
like, I feel like characters is DC's strong point. Because I'm not saying stories are bad at DC, but like, if it wasn't for their strong characters, those stories would be
Well,
awful.
people always complain because they say Marvel characters are more real and DC characters are more like gods and legends, which is kind of true. I mean, if you see their main three or, the Trinity, they're kind of like, basic gods. Batman's like a god.
Human.
I'm rich.
But I think that what DC does well is making those gods relatable.
Yeah.
And whereas people always say they can't relate to Superman, well, I don't think they've ever read a real Superman story, because if they read an actual Superman story, they would understand how relatable that motherfucker is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like Wonder Woman, like the point of her is like, it's not to just keep fighting. And I thought this movie did a great job of that. It's like, she's not just going out there to kick ass. She will. If you throw her, like, she's not going to turn her back on something, but she's not going to, for the sake of doing it,
Pick a fight.
pick a fight with you. She's going to try to find a civil way to do it, because that's the way she is.
Right.
And that's why, actually, if you go back and listen to last week's show, when you reviewed Wonder Woman 23,
Yep.
and like when that's what she chose to do, she was like, no, I need to show you that I love you. And that like brought those people down. She's like, I'm not here to fight. Like and not to prove to you that, like, because I know you don't believe in people. She like put the last on herself. And then in this movie also, there's a lot of those moments. And I thought that was great. So I think Jeff coming on board helps a lot, but also I think Patty Jenkins, because
She did awesome.
I think she nailed it.
understands who Wonder Woman is. You know what I'm interested in? The whole time during this movie, not the whole time, every once in a while it would pop up in my head. I was like, I wonder if Greg Rucka's going to go see this. And I wonder if he'll make a post about it.
I thought he already did, because I thought I saw something
Did he?
on Twitter.
I got to go find it then. Because I'm
not
interested.
sure.
I think he does. And actually, as not really that great of a fan of his recent run, I think he does understand that character a lot. I don't think that's been the bad point of this. I think the bad point's been the plot of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think he understands the character, so I'm interested to see if he thinks that's her or if it's somebody else.
All right. Maybe let's pull the curtain. Whatever.
Spoilers. Get out of here while you can. I would say go see it.
Yeah, recommend it. I mean, if you thought the DC cinematic universe was done, you got it. This gives you some hope. Kind of like the theme is, hope and love.
Hope and love.
Yeah.
So I think the greatest thing that this movie does, and it does this right away, is there's a lot of humor. I think within like that first 15, 20 minutes, there's more jokes and more laughs than all of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman combined.
Right.
And actually, people,
and it's subtle.
Yeah.
It's not forced.
It's not dumb, jokes where it's not physical jokes that are easy to do, or shocking jokes. A lot of it's just wordplay, and a lot of it's just using the characters to make some jokes. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. She's obviously never left Themyscira. Steve Trevor doesn't understand why she doesn't understand anything. So it's a lot of miscommunication, which was expected. But I thought the jokes were done well. The reason I don't like the last third, so Ares is the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought everything he said was basically here's the point of here's going to be the moral of this movie. It's people are bad, and she's like, no, they're not bad. And I think there was more subtlety before that point. And then when we got to him, it was hey, by the way, if you missed it, here's the theme of this movie, by the way, if you missed it. Because before that, there'd be subtle moments when she would see all the kids and women dying, and you could tell she was having that internal struggle in her mind.
Right.
And that was enough for at least me to be she's struggling, deciding if she wants to help these people, how could they be doing this? And she was saying, no, it's Ares. So for Ares to show up was kind of oh, then it's Ares. You know what I mean? And he did talk to people, but he said they did it on their own. I just gave them the tools for it, which is kind of still like, well, if he wasn't there, then she's right. Nothing would have happened.
Right.
But I thought the movie would have been way stronger if he didn't show up. And Steve's right. People are just sometimes bad. They're not always good.
And she just saved the day.
Yeah.
I wanted both. I wanted either he was there or not there, because not there would have just showed people are weak and people let hate corrupt them. But I like the fact that they actually went with I'm going to say supernatural, even though it's not. But I like the fact they brought in a god.
I do like that a lot,
That he was
yeah.
part of the world.
Yeah.
I think
That they didn't shy away from it. That actually, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, we just embrace that this character is here,
Yeah.
and let's have him.
I would have loved that this movie didn't have him in it and actually just was her story about her ending World War One, and it was just people that were doing it. And then at the end of the movie, like the end of the credits thing is seeing Ares like wake up and like then he's back. So that he had nothing to do with that. Steve was right. But here we go for a sequel. Now he's back. Now how does that change things
Right.
for the future? But I guess, they're not going to do another like prequel thing. And like now we're already like, what's
Yeah.
it?
I mean, they could. You never know. I mean,
Well, I would hope the next Wonder Woman should be Cheetah. I think so.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good story.
they can get out of that whole grounded, not grounded thing.
But I think they did a good job not being grounded
In
with
this one,
putting
oh,
Ares in it.
absolutely.
And I think when you get to Justice League, you have hopefully no option other than to unground the shit out of it
right.
and let it be what it is.
Well, I'll talk about this later, but I was talking about that DC opening scroll before the movie.
Oh, I was
Awesome.
going to say, that's awesome.
That
yeah.
was great.
I was going to bring it up during non-spoilers. I thought that was like,
sweet.
That's like,
nice.
give me a charge. I was like, and they were like, I would have wished maybe, and I like Cyborg, but they're like shoving Cyborg down everybody's throats.
They want people to like it.
I know, but when I saw Green
I don't.
Lantern, I was like, yes.
Holding
like
the power battery.
yeah.
Oh, man.
I saw Green Lantern, but
Why don't they like Martian Manhunter? That's what I don't understand.
It's
They
because of
want-
what's his face from Dark Knight trilogy, Douche Canoe.
Yeah, what is his name?
The
David S.
writer.
Goyer.
Yeah, David S. Goyer. He hates him for some reason. You'd think like Jeff, maybe he.
Jeff, I know, loves Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
so
but I guess
he
he is on
loves
Supergirl
Cyborg
now.
too because he's right Teen Titans.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like if he has to pick one, and I know they're trying to make that cast more diverse, but then just hire like a African American actor to be Martian Manhunter. Solved.
Right.
He's just a
so I think
Martian.
I'd rather see Martian Manhunter over Cyborg.
I would. I guess
Yeah.
maybe they want to.
The core
yeah.
of New 52.
They want to have somebody that's different because Martian Manhunter is like the same power set as like Superman.
right.
Not exactly, but you know what I mean. It's
Pretty
like
similar.
It's like him.
Let's talk about Gal. How does
Godot.
Judd, you were
Godot.
a friend of the show? Yeah, Gal Dot is how she's pronounced it on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, she did?
Gal Dot. So you
Gal
actually,
Dot?
or it's like Gal
said that too?
Dot. I don't know how to say it, but it's.
I thought she was perfect for this.
I thought she was amazing.
There was like one scene where I thought she delivered her lines not that great. Is when she's like arguing with her mom about wanting to go with Steve,
Right.
which I don't know if they just gave her too much dialogue in a row, or she like seemed like she was like out of breath and like maybe do another take on that scene.
Right.
But the rest of it I thought was great, especially after she leaves the island, like hitting those jokes on point, like being the straight man and that. They're doing, and people are like confused about why she's like so serious about stuff. And then even I thought was a very strong moment when she like is like yelling at Steve, or even in that room with all the guys when then they're talking about stopping the war, signing the amnesty. That's what it's called.
Well, that's what was going to stop the war.
So, and when she's like yelling, it's like how you sit here while like real generals go out there and fight with their men. Like that scene, I was like, she does great. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought especially since like the only thing I know her from is Fast and Furious,
Right.
and Shirley didn't get much to do in that movie.
Right.
It was mainly like, hey, look cool and drive a car.
Right.
And so
Do
I
some
was like,
jump
oh,
back
she actually has some
clip and
range.
shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised.
And like you can tell how hard she worked, like trained for this
Yeah.
movie. I mean, the choreography didn't look. Besides obviously the
there was a little
really
bit too much
slow
yeah.
slow mo.
And during those moments, there was a little bit much too CGI,
right?
especially that beach scene. I think there was a little bit CGI too much.
But I guess you got to show the
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Amazons,
but how-
like
yeah.
badass.
But how are you going to do that otherwise? Where like she's like stretching off the horse, like grabbing
Right.
that spear. It's like I guess nobody technically can do that, so I guess you got to do CGI.
Well, my only problem with B is that when I watched her pick up the shield, that horse's legs got in the way. That horse was going to go down. When they're doing, at least when they're in the training, and she picks
Right.
up the shield, I thought, you guys had to trim out that horse's legs because that horse was going to trip. So I didn't notice the CGI so much in the beach scene. I know there obviously was
Right.
a lot. But the slow motion things for me was one of those things. I don't need it a lot, but there were some good ones. I needed some spots where you actually slow it down because she is moving super fast. That you need to show her hitting these.
Yeah, I do.
And that she's using technical attacks.
Actually, I think the best point of the movie was when she basically goes Super Saiyan at the end of the movie, and she like rushes them and fights them all really quick, and you see her like how fast she is.
Yeah,
I was like, oh sweet. Like now they're slow, but then like 2 seconds later there's a slow scene.
Right.
Which you're right. They got to show like she can't just be super fast, but also. If like in the Flash movie, you think it's really going to be all slow mo? No, they're going to show how fast he is.
Right.
Well, but you need to show how fast she is, and she does move fast. She dodges things. You all of a sudden see her show up behind Ares and elbow him in the head. It's like okay,
I kind of like that they never showed her like Man of Steel when they show the Kryptonians like super speed and like hit people. I was like, I was getting like a stroke every time I watched like Feora hit somebody. So
yeah, like the first after Ares drops that piece of the street on her, and she like. Comes from the side really quick and hits him. Yep. I was like, oh, now they're showing how fast he is. Like if that would have been slowed down too, like really, I would have.
No, that would have pissed me off.
So, all right,
so the few things that they slowed down is like
you're right though. It's
she's
like
moving
precision
fast.
moments,
like when she does the slide on her shield and kicks the guy in the leg or in the face or something. It's like okay, I get you're slowing it down so you can show me the technical hit, not just this. Oh, he went down somehow.
So during that first town scene when she helps
That was my favorite scene. Dude, when she literally climbs that ladder, like you feel like, there's always that like moment where they're like, not quite yet. And you're just like, fuck, I just want this. And then right away, like you don't have to wait. She's like, no, I'm going. Climbs the ladder in the suit. Well, that moment when you're waiting for the hero
at the front.
They're in the trenches.
She's in the trenches. She goes up the ladder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
there's
sorry.
always that scene.
I was thinking the village fight.
Right.
I thought she wasn't in the ladder. She ran off the building.
There's always those origin movies, whatever, when you're just like, I just want to see him in the costume, and you're like, oh, they're gonna be like, get excited, 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
This part it was like, get excited, and here we go.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm glad they didn't cut her off. Going, no, we're not gonna let you fight them.
Right.
I'm glad she just did her own thing. Goes, fuck you guys.
I was believing that they weren't gonna let her. Like they were.
I'm glad
like,
you brought that up
off.
because like that moment, and also like when her mom finds out that she's actually training. I was like, here we go. She's not going to let her train. She's going to train in secret. Then her mom's like, all right, if you can train her, though, she's going to be the best of the best. Like, you don't hold back on that. I was like, oh, that's different. And then when she was leaving, I was like, okay, her mom's going to get mad that she's leaving and be like, well, you're shunned now. Like, I don't like you anymore. And she's like, okay, I know you have to leave, but I don't have to like it. I was like, oh, like those two moments, like, because usually they make somehow by default, they always make the parent like some sort of
bad guy.
Yeah, not like the main bad guy, but some sort of conflict to be like, oh, okay, here's some conflict to start off the story. So I thought it was great that she's like, no, I know you have to do this.
And I can't stop you.
Yeah, so you're going to go.
And I like how she goes, I don't know the words, you're the best gift I've ever gotten. But as of right now, you're the hardest sorrow I've had. Or
deepest.
Yeah, deepest sorrow.
So that town scene, they used the Wonder Woman theme from BVS.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yes.
That was awesome.
That
it worked
actually
well
gave me
with the
chills.
score.
Yeah. And then at the end, for Ares' fight, they used her theme, but it was like on a
It was interwoven with the new score, not in a good way. It was like against the grain.
It was like on a loop, and there like somebody just went, I'm not going to score this fucking scene.
So no, I didn't hear the music during the final fight scene.
It was like the whole time.
I'm sure it was, but I was too busy being picky watching her fight. Where at least when I watched the town fight, I love that town fight.
That's what I mean. It feels like those are two different parts of the movie. Like that town fight, how it's set up feels like more real, and then the
she
end.
She seems so methodical and well planned and, at the end, strategized.
She's just like all over the place. So like,
I
feel
guess
like
her like faith was being shaken. Just being like, oh, this thing that you believed in, your whole mission, not true. And then she's like, it's true.
Holy shit, it's real.
That's true. I guess Steve dies.
And Steve dies. Like so much emotional.
She's never fought a god. She's never fought someone else as powerful as she is. So she doesn't know what to expect. He's throwing streets at her, and fuck, she doesn't know what a street is.
Yeah, what does he have lightning for?
Yeah, that confused me. And I couldn't remember, is Ares really Zeus's son?
Well, see, the way I was thinking it,
yeah, I believe so.
I was confused. Like, I get he's Ares, but for a second there, the way he was talking, it seemed like it was Zeus that killed Ares, and so Zeus was the mastermind behind all this.
So you got confused with the lightning because he shouldn't have had lightning.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like,
I
didn't remember him having those powers because, like in Brian Azzarella's run, yeah, they were all brothers and sisters, and like their dad was Zeus. So they always talked about stopping their father and stuff like that. So
did you? And you? I don't think you'll take notice of this. The girl that Wonder Woman gets her dress from, the blue dress, looked like Hera. And I think I wonder if that was actually a joke to it. In New 52, she's always got the peacocks.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I thought, I like that little nudge that and Hera was a bitch.
Yeah.
That
Kind of
was
like an Easter egg to the comics.
Hey, speaking of Easter egg, there's an Easter egg from the first Superman movie. So that scene in the alley when she blocks that shot, and he's like, no, don't. And she's like, oh, I guess go ahead. You know, she blocks. She like moves.
Oh, you mean like Christopher Reeve Superman movie?
He does that.
Oh,
He does that for Lois.
Yeah.
He like
the first time they're hanging out together. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's a nod to Superman,
right?
Which I thought was great.
Well, I think I saw a lot of parallels to this movie, like. And I guess, we're spoiling the whole crap ton out of this movie, but like the part at the end where she like takes off into the city, it's like, that's a definite Christopher Reeve flying over Earth.
Is that
Superman
supposed to be BVS? Or is that just generic, like something?
No, because in BVS she was done being Wonder Woman. Like she because like this takes place after. Because remember, Bruce sends the email and she thanks him for it, like thanks for the memory thing. So this takes place after BVS.
Okay.
So
she's
like,
she doesn't have that sweet suit though.
Bruce is already trying to hit her up, trying to get together.
I
want to
know what's making that noise though.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That shaking thing. I was like,
well, I guess
is that a boom tube or what?
You know what? That's the thing we were talking about. I feel like I was going to come here and be like, I feel like I didn't get enough, but I think that's what that's what should happen. I should feel like
want more.
I need more Wonder Woman. So
I have to admit, this made me want to see Justice League, and I even asked my wife, "Are you willing to go see it?" She goes, "Yeah, I'll see it." So
I want to see this again. Honestly, there's movies where I know you said it was slow, but there was like times like I was just so in wonder of it. That when I when the credits rolled, I looked at my watch and I'm like, holy shit.
You know what?
I was enjoying every little second of this movie.
You know what I'm going to say? It might be controversial on this show. It might be controversial for our listeners too. I'm going to say I give this a 9 out of 10. Mm-hmm. I think that this is DC's best movie, including Nolan's trilogy, in terms of like superhero movies. Right. I think this is our best superhero movie. I think that Dark Knight is like the best movie that they have.
Right.
But like it kind of...
It doesn't have Batman in it.
Nolan tried to make it so real, like try to make his own thing, that it really doesn't celebrate the source material at all. And I think this really does like try to make... It tries to celebrate like where it came from.
Right.
It really doesn't like try to apologize, be like, yeah, I know he's the man in a bat suit. Get over that. He actually is going to wear armor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than in this one, it was like the things... Steve would comment and be like, that's kind of weird, but like then they would get over it and then it'd be cool. You know what I mean? They would embrace just like they do on Flash TV show. They have Cisco there to be like, hey, isn't that cool? And they're like, yeah, he quit being cheesy. But then they embrace it and then they take it. And I think that was the point I liked the most. It was like that there were jokes and like it didn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
The parts it took seriously were her character moments, which I think should be taken seriously. Like if you're gonna make a story about Wonder Woman and like make people want to see it, you have to make them know who that person is and want to see that person again.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Chris Pine and Gal Gadot's whatever chemistry.
I thought Chris Pine was great.
He was good Steve Trevor.
Is
his eyes naturally that blue? That's what I want to know.
It is because of Star Trek. I got lost in those eyes. You know what part actually? Speaking of subtlety, what part I loved because I thought about it. I was like, wow, in any other movie they would just comment on it. When she's trying to get the tower to get those the gift of the gods to go leave with Steve, she like runs and grabs the brick and then she falls and then she punches and realizes, oh geez, I'm really strong, and then she starts punching her way up. Like that was a way to show you, look how strong she is, and she's just discovering for the first time rather than telling you. Like in any other movie or in a lesser movie, like old DC would have been like, there would have been a scene be like, oh yeah, you're super strong. And she'd be like, oh, I am. And she would have like, then there would have been a joke about how she broke something she's not supposed to have. And then they would have been a scene all about that. But this was just like quick. It was like, oh, okay, I get the point. She's strong and she just realized her for the first time. And then she climbs up the thing. It's part of, and it forwards the story. She's trying to get up the fucking tower.
Right.
And I was like, wow, they really do. And I don't know, like it's hard. It's going to be hard to determine who actually is making these changes until we see more.
Right.
Like if Justice League is better, then it's like, oh, it's Jeff. If it's not as great as this, then it was like, oh, it's Patty Jenkins. So we'll have to see. But like, I thought there were moments on that. I was like, wow, like it's really taking a step back. And I think that's what is horrible about those other DC movies is that a lot of it's like, hey, we're going to make a scene here where this is the point of this whole scene. We're going to tell you, we're going to show you, and then
And we're gonna Michael
we're
Bay
gonna make a
the shit
joke
out
about
of
it. Yeah,
this.
and then we're gonna
Yeah.
or like we'll keep bringing. Actually, another subtle moment is when they first come into the city. That guy who turns out to be a bad German guy. Like I saw him like following them. But
I did early on in the movie.
the camera
guy
doesn't-
with the
yeah.
plaid green.
The camera doesn't like stay on him, and you're like, oh, okay, somebody's following him. It like shows a whole crowd scene, and you see that guy, and then later it shows her trying on the clothes, and you see the guy just walking around the back.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
That was cool.
And
That was
then
neat.
later on, there's another scene when he passes by him, and then that was like, oh, there's that guy again, and then he runs into him, and you're like, oh, okay, something's happening.
Right.
But if you noticed it earlier, you would have been like, wow, he's being followed.
Hmm.
Which is like I said, like any other movie, they would have walked
Look at that
up
guy.
and would have focused in on him and
It
followed
would
him
have
the
been
whole
like
way.
him staring up at them like
And then she would have been trying on clothing and then zoom in on his face. Oh, he's following them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things about this that make me excited for Justice League, like you said.
Yeah. It's up the ante. Like I shouldn't get as excited for I want to be excited, but it's like when I found out how good this movie was doing, I shouldn't have looked early, but I couldn't help myself because you just like we love DC characters so much. We just want this to like be successful for both universes. Shut up.
I just want all of them to be good.
Yeah.
Like,
why
if I'm
can't
gonna
every superhero movie be good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go, like also, and it hasn't happened since superhero movies started becoming popular, but for me, I love comics. But it's not a business that's huge. So whenever I see these movies, I'm like, maybe this is the one that'll make people start going to buy comic books.
Right.
So I'm hoping they're all good. That way, like, Wonder Woman can start selling out. Like, I hope this makes people more interested in the character so that they start buying these books and realize the great library of comics that are available that are great Wonder Woman stories and not just go see the movie and be like, well, I only watch the movies. And it seems like that's what it is right now. And I think that is a symptom of Marvel stuff being hard to get into. So hopefully, because DC is actually pretty easy to get into,
Right.
that they'll see this and be like, oh, this is a good one. I like this character. Let me go see this character. Because I think there was some of that when Dark Knight trilogy was coming out. There was a lot of people getting into Batman. I think a lot of people got into comics during that time. And then it didn't turn out so great for the next two movies.
Right.
And then I think now, hopefully, we'll see a resurgence of that again.
Well, good news is I mean, not saying that Greg Rucka's run's bad, but his run is ending. So if you're ready for a new take on Wonder Woman, starting up here very shortly, there's going to be a new creative team on Wonder Woman book for DC Comics. So
Yeah, and you
start
can
there
jump in.
maybe and see what it's like. If not, you can always go back and get trades, you know.
You can get the Brian Azzarello run with Cliff Chang. You can get...
Which I need to read
What was
that.
that book you used to get?
Oh, the
Legends.
Legends of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I heard that was good.
That was really good by Renee DeLiz.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, like, there's good stuff out there. Like, you just...
I'm still trying to decide which one is better, Dark Knight or Wonder Woman. Like, not the trilogy, just
Oh.
Dark Knight. 'Cause
I agree with Marvin's points on it that it's like Dark Knight's more of a crime
That was-
movie,
yeah.
superhero movie wise.
That was always my-
overall. I don't know. I watched Dark Knight like 50 million times when it came out.
I think
so.
the only reason I question
Yeah, I
is
think
the
it's a great
fact that
movie. Yeah.
Dark Knight is the one movie I actually believe is legitimate. When I watch him fight Bane in Dark Knight Rises, like, yeah, that he's not Bane to me. When I watch him fight Ra's al Ghul, I'm like, oh, it's good. But when I watch him go up against the Joker, where this Joker really doesn't give a shit about anybody, not even himself, it's like I believe that, and I actually believe that Dent went to be a good guy, and he got screwed. And so he's like, you know what? Fuck everybody.
See,
Well, that's
those are
what I
the
mean, though.
characters.
And so
Yeah.
actually, character-wise, but even those aren't super. They're not metas. They're actually just people.
Right.
Well, you know
that
what?
I actually go. That's at least one story that it's self-contained
Yeah.
is good.
But what I mean is like Nolan takes that movie and makes it his own. Like that's Christopher Nolan's Batman. It's not a Batman movie that Chris Nolan directed,
Right.
which is what I mean. What you should do, but still, like this movie, even though Patty Jenkins directed it, it feels like a Wonder Woman movie.
Right.
It feels like if somebody saw that and they read the comics, they would be like, "Oh, they're getting the same thing."
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas you read Dark
agree.
Knight and then you read the Batman comics, you're like, "This is kind of cheesy for them to read." You
Yeah.
know, with the purple cape and with the weird villains that sometimes pop up, and some of them actually do have powers and stuff like that. It's not what you're getting from that movie.
And I agree. And that was my biggest gripe. And I'm sure I don't know how much you would agree, but I want metas. I like when Batman goes up against these
Yeah.
extraordinary people.
You mean the Calendar Man? He has powers now.
The best. I think Wonder Woman is a superb movie. I may even think about raising mine to a 9 because I actually really enjoyed this movie. It was a nice.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, a nice entry from DC instead of garbage.
I don't think it was perfect though. Like I'm
No,
not gonna,
no.
Right.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is the best movie it could have been. I think there's a little bit of work that could have been done to make it better.
Because the who she thinks is Ares the whole time, I'm already going. I know that's the
But
obvious.
think about it. This is her first
I
run.
know, but to me, it was as a person who's seen plenty of movies and detective. He was. I
Yeah.
knew he was going to be. He was the obvious answer. Where you're like, you know what? That guy who played Lupin. It's weird that you're in this movie. Spoilers.
Well, I know. I guess
That's
it's
a big
being meta
spoiler,
about
but-
the movie, but like she's so gullible because it's like she's experiencing the world of man for the first time.
Well, I get
Well, I only
mean,
figured out because like when she was in that room with the rest of them, and like she brought up, and it was another moment of where I thought the writing wasn't that great, where she was like, "Man, why do they just keep arguing in there? They won't let him speak." And I was like, "Yeah, because he's like fueling their hate and shit like
Right.
that." So I was
Especially
like,
when he looks at her and he's like,
and he's like,
there's a girl in here.
and he's like, "Oh, Diana, I want you to send you through this war. Here's the money for it."
yeah, you can't go. You can go.
Do it.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like, actually, I think it doesn't have a better. I think it's getting better reviews than Dark Knight.
It is. It's at a 97 again. It dipped down to 94 now. It's at 90. I'm not saying that Rotten Tomatoes is the end all.
No,
be
but more
all.
people like it.
Yeah, more.
And I think that's a symptom of maybe just the times that people want something that is really about, like you said, hope and love, and like it's lighthearted. There's jokes.
Because
It
everything
really is-
else
yeah.
in the DC universe movies, like since Man of Steel, has all been about despair,
despair,
and overcoming
yeah.
despair.
And now
this
we've-
is like, no, it's the complete opposite.
We
And
get
the
a,
nice thing is she's new. Other than being in BVS, this is her first movie ever.
yeah. Now
It's original and nice to see.
it's nice in these times to get a movie where everybody is like, things aren't going the greatest, and then you get that movie where she's like, no, people are going to do what they want to do. The biggest thing that you should do is you have to believe, and you have to, believe the best in people. You want to hope the best for people and help people out when you can.
You were going to bring this up, and I'll bring it up now. Her lasso work.
Oh
Superb.
yeah, that's
Oh yeah,
right.
and that last fight
Holy
scene, that was the greatest
cow,
part of the last
she's
fight scene.
awesome. Like Cowboys, learn from her. Not saying that Cowboys are going to be doing what she was doing, but damn, she was awesome at it.
And I think just her fighting style in general, I love.
I do like that she that she thinks that sword is a god killer, and then Ares just devours it in 2 seconds. Not devours it,
Just
destroys
stops it with his hand.
And I like that because I was like, okay, now all she has left is defensive weapons, but she's still like the weapon, like he says, the weapon is her, and so she takes her out both his hands. Do you think Steve's still alive? By the way, he died, but they kind of cut away.
There was a second there that I thought that he probably could.
He was like smiling.
The contemplation he had of, I could get out of this. And I guess to me, even my wife asked, she goes, I think that pissed her off that they had to kill him. I said, well, either way, he's going to die.
Yeah,
But
he can't be in the
to
new
give
stuff.
to give any validity to what he was doing, there's no way because they just explained it. Oh yeah, this has a 50-mile radius. Even if that's like
Got
maybe
out
that's
in
playing
time.
on Dark Knight Rises, like being like, oh, I'm going to shoot this, but there's only 12 seconds left, and
Yeah.
I survived.
Yeah.
Like, probably not.
He had a gas mask.
Yeah, we see what happens to a gas. That's the part that kind of annoyed me over and over again. I know they wanted to test if people wearing gas masks if they would still die.
Yeah.
Every time they would like throw one in, I'm like, okay, we get it. It's gonna dissolve the freaking gas mask. I understand.
I thought that lady who played Dr. Poison was horrible. I
thought she was bad?
Well, I thought her writing was bad. It was like so
Yeah.
so
She reminded me of like
Cheesy bad guy?
Firefly.
Kind of.
How she's like has that itch to like. set
I
things
thought
on
those
fire.
two, actually, the general too, was like they had
It was
like
weird.
cliche.
I couldn't get
bad
over the
guy
fact that he
lines.
was Stryker in Origins.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Right.
that rubbed me wrong the whole time I saw him.
I thought their lines were like so, like not so blunt, being like, "Oh, we're bad guys," especially like when they like laugh maniacally when they had those people locked in.
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, I get you're bad guys and you enjoy killing people."
The part I didn't get is why does that guy Striker or whatever take that drug so many freaking times, even when he doesn't need to? I feel like I would.
I know.
Like, yeah, it'd
takes
feel
it to break a
good.
gun.
Like it feel yeah, right? He's like, oh, now I'm fighting somebody. Maybe I should take this. Not, man, I'm kind of bored right now.
I think one thing that bugged me is that fight scene that she has with the general.
Mm-hmm.
He should stand no chance against
That's what I
fighting her.
thought.
He's an older man. She is built
I was like,
a
"How
brick
strong does
house.
that make you?" Actually,
Yeah, in
I was saying,
World War One,
she's wearing armor.
era.
She is a trained killer or just a trained fighter. she should never have taken a hit from him.
So it actually makes you stronger. I thought it was going to just turn out to be that it makes it feel like he can't feel anything.
I assumed it was like meth, where
Yeah.
he's just high out of his mind.
But I guess
And maybe that'd be the thing. If you can't feel pain, you don't.
I guess technically he really didn't hurt her, but he did. He was
Just
strong
pushed
enough
her
to like
around.
push her around. Yeah, and that's basically all he did. And she killed him, and then
Oh. One other thing that not a big critique. I get it's PG-13. There should have been just a tiny bit of blood dripping from that sword. Just one drop.
he's dead inside.
I just
already.
need to see one drop, just to know that he's at least human in blood.
I mean, there's still half.
Of course, then he got obliterated.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Alex is hoping that when he sliced her, all of a sudden, like a spray of blood came out, Kill Bill style.
Of course. To be when we were watching this movie, I kept thinking about the raid, because they actually, instead of they showed you her contact. I was like, oh, that's good. That's how it should be. Show me her attacking them and them taking damage, not
Yeah.
watch her throw a punch, then the guy goes flying when I never saw.
Oh, that's what I was
that
gonna
yet.
say, because like in the first action scene, it was that where like they would do something and it would just like cut away, and I was like, what's with this fake fighting shit? I hate it so much. And then the rest of the movie wasn't that though.
Yep.
It actually was real.
Because I agree that
It was
did
CGI
bug me.
Yeah. I do like. I didn't think this was that subtle at all. Maybe it was, but I did enjoy it though. That it turns out that Ares, instead of being the general, who like you said, obvious, he turned out to be like in that day and age, the person who is a warmonger is the politician. Like that's who it is. It's not the person on the front lines, the person behind the desk.
Right.
And it made me laugh. I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Which I guess to me, I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Ares would have nothing to do with fighting anybody. He just wanted to entice you guys to fight.
He's
more.
obviously not dead. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ares. No, he'll be back.
I got one question for you guys.
Reborn.
And this is, do you feel by the end of that movie that it was justified for Steve to say "I love you" after knowing her
No.
for like 5 days?
To be fair, I mean, I understand it, and they've spent enough time together, and
Right.
they've already,
That's movies, though. You know what I mean?
know.
They spend 12 hours with each other, and they're the love of their life.
'Cause I'm
See-
pretty now. You know,
You got to get in early, though. If you meet Wonder Woman, you got to say "I love you" to.
do you think they were reading the 12 books
That was funny. I thought
in that top floor townhouse thing?
there was a lot of sexual humor in this movie that I thought was
Yeah.
like pushing it for DC, and maybe that's what they got to do. Like it's that line
Chris
between PG-13 and
Pine's
R.
a sexy guy. Maybe they were just like,
Honestly,
get his shirt
I
off.
told you
a
about
couple
those
times.
eyes. Got lost in them.
They
I
are
tell you what,
very blue.
it wasn't even the sexy stuff. Didn't bother me at all. It made sense. And to be fair, if I met Wonder Woman, I would probably tell her I love her too. Because
That's what I mean. You got to get in
I
early.
tell you what, that she's a very nice looking.
She's got a
lady.
nice home. That mascara. That water's the bluest
Shit.
I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, I want to be in that
You
hot
see
tub.
when he was like kicking his feet around, you see the light trailing it. I was
Yeah.
like, that's some good H2O.
Yeah,
I
holy
think they
shit.
filmed
High
that.
quality
This
In,
water
H2O.
holds light.
they filmed that in Italy, I think. I'm
I
pretty
want to
sure.
go there.
Oh my- I do-
Vacation
I-
there.
Yeah, it was really nice. I was like, oh, that looks
I would
great.
go to that Paradise Island.
And then they go to London, and it looks like shit. So I can see her being like, this is fucking London.
Yeah, and it's like
I thought that was
That's not
industrial
for everybody.
era. Not real. I guess that's past the industrial area, but that's more how London is. Is more.
So,
Dark and gloomy.
yeah, so I think we all should say go see it.
Yeah, I agree. Go see it.
absolutely.
Worth their time.
Bring anybody who seems interested in Wonder Woman and go to your Wonder Woman
To be fair, if,
Wonder
you,
Woman
if
comics.
I'm saying it's worth your time, must mean it's decent.
Yeah, he
Batman
hasn't
vs.
said that one
Superman?
S word he says all the time. Oh, here it is.
Shit.
Spoke too soon.
I literally was just going to say, shit.
It does make me excited for Justice League. You know what, Justice League? Actually, I don't think we brought up on the show that Joss is taking over post production and they're doing some reshoots. However, I did find out also that before they started actually filming, he did touch ups on the script. So actually, he rewrote some of the script. So,
I like that. I believe in Joss Whedon because like what he's done for like Avengers and like that's still one of my favorite Marvel movies, the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the best Avengers movie out of all the Avengers.
He's good with
movies, but,
characters. So
yeah.
if anything, he probably looked at that script and was like, let's get some character moments in here, which would
Right.
be great. So Justice League November?
Yep. I'm excited to see how they play with each other. Gosh, I just can't wait. I mean, not like that. I mean, how they interact with each other.
To be fair, it was pretty understood why I gave you that face of, ugh.
Well, yeah.
I'm excited for it. Now, maybe I shouldn't
I
be,
will.
but
I will actually probably go see it opening night now. I
So
wasn't-
worried about Flash, but that's it.
Yeah.
Just because
they
have you heard
can't find
about
a
the director disaster that's going on?
Well, hopefully now, like with this movie, and hopefully it does good at the box office, it'll make it so DC can actually find some directors that want to stick around. Hey, is the Suicide Squad still sticking around with Mel Gibson?
I don't know if he's still a contender or not. That's a movie I don't care to see a sequel. I'd rather see more movies get a first chance than Suicide Squad get a second chance.
Well, I don't think Suicide Squad needs another chance. Other than I know everyone wants to see Margot Robbie and Will Smith. I could give two shits.
Hashtag not Harley Quinn. Hashtag not my
Deadshot.
Joker. Deadshot's okay. I like Will Smith as Deadshot. But the Joker, meh. Margot Robbie, not Harley Quinn.
Hashtag Katana cry. By the way, hashtag upgrade to HD. That's the
You
worst.
mean XD?
XD. That's the worst commercial now.
I can't ever hear what he's ever saying when he yells.
No, I would much rather watch that than the group of
Okay, that's true.
19-year-olds sing the song to me. Bop.
That's true.
No.
At least it's like loud and like shows you how.
And he's
that
just going,
works.
this is XD. And I'm like, okay.
So
It is the fucking unicorns.
That is our review of Wonder Woman. Go ahead and see it. Let us know what you think. Email us at WednesdayComics605@gmail.com. Email me too. I want long form reviews. Don't give me a word. I want a paragraph.
You can add one.
We are professors here.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing, featuring news, reviews, and a comprehensive chronology of the Swamp Thing. All in Files #1 is currently sold out. Issue 2 is in production. Make sure to follow John on Twitter at DCWorldSwampy or on Facebook.com/rootsoftheswampthing. That is rootsoftheswampthing.com for more of the green. So let's move on to our reviews of the week. Short week, we're going to only review 4 books because nothing that big came out. Plus we got 2 features, double feature.
Mm-hmm.
Kill or Be Killed #9 by Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, and Elizabeth Breweiser. So I read 8 and 9 back to back.
Yeah.
I thought 8 was great. I thought 9 was good.
I agree with that.
Which one was 8? Was that the one with the girl on the cover?
No, it's with him. I think he's just standing on the cover.
Okay.
So in 9, 8 ends with he called his drug dealer. He needs more meds. He goes to pick him up, and then it's a setup. The Russians are after him.
Right.
9 starts with that. I thought that was all great, but it's like we were talking about last week or week before that. I forget where we talked about like I'm more interested in like the 2 girls' stories.
Right.
Where this was like I thought it was good, but it was like basically just an action scene. You know what I mean?
I have to admit, I'm going to give this issue maybe a 7. Just for the fact it was fine.
It was fine.
But it wasn't anything special.
Yeah, I would like to see it go back to the girl's point of view. Just because, like, you made, like I said, I think I said it last week, the world seems so more grander when there's more point of views. And, like, going back to Dylan, it's like, I don't know, I'm waiting for the next big story point. Like, not the, like, he's kind of like the fuck up. He does something, like, he plans it to a T, and then it's like,
He
oh, but it all
still
falls
ruins it?
apart. Yeah. Scooby-Doo gang.
I
Basically.
don't know.
So he kills a Russian, kills his friend by accident, drops him off at the hospital, and guess what? They got him on CCTV, so now they know what.
And he was
looks
dead on
like.
arrival, though.
Dead on arrival. That'll probably be enough for the demon to skip him for the next one. He killed a drug dealer. I think that's enough. And the Russian hitman. So it's 2
Should
for
be
1.
2 months.
I think he's very smart at how he avoids police. Though, like he goes like 3 cities away to this like crappy small town and like hides in the woods. Like that's what I would do. Like I would not stay in the city A. I would not cross state lines. I'd go some small town, throw my car in someone's, I don't know, just like in the back alley somewhere, and then book it.
Every once
Hoof
in a
it.
while, I find that narration a little weird.
Yeah.
Like when he burnt the van, he was like, "Oh, don't worry, it didn't burn up the woods." And I was like, "All right." I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the point of that shit?"
Probably like
Smoky.
waiting for PETA to be like, "What the hell?"
I was like, okay. I don't think Dylan doesn't strike me as a guy who would give a shit if it lit up the. He might be
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit! Like, what did I do?" But he wouldn't be like, "Don't worry."
I think sometimes when I read it and it's Dylan talking to us readers, it kind of throws me out of the book.
You know what I thought about that, and I really didn't like that either. And then I thought I looked. It seems like, and this would make sense for the wood part, that maybe he's telling this story to the
Someone
police, and like, "Hey, by the way, I didn't. Nothing happened to the woods, by the way." And he keeps saying to somebody, "Well, you obviously know this already.
Yeah.
You obviously know this, or you
Thinking
know."
it's us, the reader, it might
Yeah,
be the
he's
person
actually. I think maybe he's
telling a story.
confessing. He's confessing, and that's the end of the story. He's confessing all this stuff.
Was he taking anxiety drugs at the beginning of the story?
Yeah, he was taking Respan, I think.
Okay, yeah. Because I was going to say, this guy does. I mean, 100%. I mean, besides the fact that you're running from cops, but yeah, you have anxiety.
Yeah, but I question how these cops work in the city. I know it's supposed to be New York, but man, there's no cops anywhere.
There's 2 in the park.
Yeah,
That was 8 or 9? It was an 8 when he was going to kill that.
Because 9
lobbyist.
is too busy shooting everybody.
Oh yeah, it was when he was going to kill the lobbyist in Central Park, and then he saw 2 cops. He's like, by the way, the lobbyist just was like, "Are you following me, police?" And then they chased him, and I was like, "Wow, you really don't have to make much of a case."
Right.
Yeah, that part with the his friend. What's his friend's name? The girl. Mel? No,
His girlfriend or the redhead?
the redhead.
Kara.
So remember, Kara was in the closet, saw his medicine, and took
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
was
why
in
in that
there
scene,
while-
yeah, he's like, that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
he's like, I think I smell her for some reason. That's weird. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like they intersected the
Right.
stories, and that's where his medicine went. So he went to get more Lorespan, which actually, so that story affected this story, and so like
That's
it's nice.
cool.
I like the way it's like all set up
Tied
and
together.
Yeah, but I feel like it should be an even, like one hers, one his, and then one the detective.
I have to admit,
Right.
I guess for me, this issue is just, yeah, it was an action scene, but it was slow. And it's not that the action was slow. It just
No, it feels
just-
a little.
It wasn't what I wanted from this issue.
It's a little too decompressed. Like the last issue, this one should have been one issue. I
Yeah.
think.
Right. I want to know, like, next issue, what's going to happen, because I know the cliffhanger of that one will probably drag me into the next issue. But this, I was like, if nothing, like, if he died at the end of that issue, I would have been like, all right.
That's what I thought. It was like, oh, they have him on CCTV, and I was like, well, they already have a sketch of him.
Yeah.
Cops have seen him. Like, what more do they need?
Right.
Now they have him on CCTV. What? Now they know like how tall he is. All right.
Right.
What else is gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Would have been better if, like, I don't know, like
Maybe he goes to California for a while.
So I was gonna say, I'm starting to feel like this. I know this is supposed to be a longer run. Feels like this could be done here in the next like 7 issues.
Yeah, it's going a little maybe too quick. But unless there's some gambit that we don't know about that's going to completely change the narrative.
The demon's real.
See, if they're going to go with that, go with it. If they're not, then it's time to tell me yay or nay. Like,
As in, now I'm getting tired of wondering
Right.
what it is.
because it would be a more of a thriller book if I knew that he was imagining the demon. But it would be a kind of cool supernatural story if it was an actual demon. So it's like pick and choose. Like, what do you want to do?
I'll go with 7 too. The last one I think was a 9, but this one was a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just waiting for the next stuff.
Speaking of being confused if it's real or not, Alex, what else we get?
That was good. Moon Knight number 14, written by Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood on art, and Jordi Belair as the colorist.
So we've been mentioning the whole time we've been reviewing Moon Knight that it's kind of weird. Like, what's real, what's not real? Like, what do we know actually what's happening? So basically, it turns out that it's all been in his head. And he overcomes that, and at the end, it's like now he's actually full form now. Now he's
Right.
Moon Knight again. So I was thinking about that. I was reading, and I was like, normally I don't like things that are like, oh, it was all in their head or it was a dream. I hate dream sequences so much.
Yeah.
What was I watching? Oh, did you watch Master of None on Netflix?
No.
So season 2 is amazing. There's one scene where he has a dream, and like weird shit
Something
happens.
that you want.
Weird shit
Oh,
happens in dreams.
oh.
It's a nightmare.
Oh, okay.
And the weird shit happens. Somebody pulls his heart out of his chest, and I was just like, I don't like things that are pretending to be real, and then like after you synchronicity, be like, psych, actually it wasn't real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got to the end of this. I was like, well, I guess the whole thing was fake. So I'm good with that. Like if it would have been like, oh, he's been in and out, then I probably would have been like, I don't like when you like play with it like that. But I thought it was, feel like if I read the whole thing together, I'd be like, oh, this is amazing. But I think it was good to great.
Is it actually done?
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, but they're not. There's not another
There's
writer.
not going to be a 15.
They haven't
I think they were
announced
going to, and then they were just like, let's keep
I
him
guess
on
I'm okay with
the
it being done. It doesn't make me have to cut it, and it just ends the book. They can start another Moon Knight number 1 and be.
I wasn't really satisfied with the ending. I mean, I give it a 7, and I get like what they were trying to tell, but by the end, I was just kind of like worn out by
I
the
still think it was a little too long.
Yeah, like he said, like, oh yeah, like Greg wanted to draw some more art and get this stuff all included, so I dragged out the art from like 12 to 15, and I was like, should have kept it at 12.
I liked the art was great.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, and the coloring was fabulous. I agree. The wordiness was. I mean, it wasn't wordy. I read this book in
Right.
maybe 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It
Too.
was-
I read it like in 2
It
minutes.
wasn't like it was wordy, but it was just for 14 issues for not a whole lot really to go on.
Right. It felt too easy to me.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like you just said. It's like it feels like some issues were mostly just art, and like it got one thing happened, and you're like, okay. And you're right though. Like he did drag it out for that art.
See, 13 should have just been like $5 and make it like a 40-page story or something.
Yeah, double issue.
Yeah.
But maybe Craig needed more time.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm going to give it an 8 just because I like the art so
I was
much.
gonna give it an 8 too. I like the art in this.
I'm
issue.
sticking with 7. It didn't really do it because like, when I read that, I was kind of like, because we took Hadrian's Wall off the list, I was like, we could have left that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, I'm kind of interested in what happened in Hadrian's Wall.
It was good. I read it. It was
Oh, did you? Okay.
It wasn't a bad-
I read Dead Orbit last night. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah. That art is Stokey art.
I got
is
a theory
awesome.
about that book.
Alien.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Alien Dead Orbit. That he's so scared. Have you read number? Are you reading that?
I have the first two. I haven't read it yet.
Okay. Well, then I don't want to spoil it. But never mind. I'll just text it to you.
Me? Or him?
Yeah. The guy that hasn't read it, I'm
Hey,
going to text
I'm waiting for you to talk about Descender with us. He's 28 behind. I'm down by 7. Are you getting that book still? You're going to drop it?
I
Okay.
dropped it already.
Did you?
Descender.
Hasn't come out lately since
You
you
can't
dropped
be 21 issues behind and hope to catch up one day.
Oh, God. He's going to read that. And he's like, God, I wish we still get
I know.
this.
I know.
That's the fear. That's why I kept getting it because I was like, what if I read these one day and I want to? Then I'm like, oh shit, I stopped getting it.
Why
But
don't
then
you just do it? Like,
then
why don't
after
you just set that on your
21
top of your pile and just do it?
Then after 21, I was like,
You know when you told me that I should read, and I know we're getting on sideboard here,
Jeff Lemire. So
but I'm just thinking, you remember when you told me Lazarus that I needed to read just those handbooks, just a couple pages a night?
one issue at a time,
Read one issue a day.
one step at a time.
One panel a day is all you have to read.
One panel a day makes the pain go away.
Remember we always talk about on this podcast about books you would give to a new reader versus books you would give to an experienced comic reader, and they would think you would enjoy it. Moon Knight, this run at least, I think you have to give it to somebody who's used to comics.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you give it to somebody new, they'd be like, "Fuck comics! I don't know what the hell's going on."
And they'd be like, I know this is Moon Knight. That's it.
You wouldn't even know it's
Especially
probably
with
Moon
all the
Knight.
changing art
Well,
styles.
the title is called Moon Knight.
And
So.
Greg's style is like all over the place. Not all over the place, but the panel layout's not
Right.
standard.
I love his panel work though.
I do too.
It kind of
But I mean,
reminds me
like,
of Sorrentino. I love that artwork.
Yeah, the panel layout's kind of like
Shit. But Ellis's would
that's
be
what I was gonna say. But
is a
that
good
one, you'd be like, "Hey,
Here,
new
here's a
reader."
nice introduction
They're all
for you.
one shots. They're all simple stories. So I like that. There isn't so. That's what I like about it. Is like this is more, heady, more, introspective of Moon Knight's character, and where that one is more like, hey,
Here's how
he
you solve
is.
something.
Yeah, here it's more like taking those things and using them as genre pieces rather than something about his head. I mean, it's okay. I mean, not okay.
Right.
I thought it was good, and some issues were great. Some issues I loved, and I think if I read the whole thing, I would think of it higher than I do now. But you're right. After 14 issues, and you feel like you got to cut some out of it now. At this point, I'm like, I feel like
I feel like I've been getting this ending over the last 3
Yeah.
issues, but they just needed to and summarize basically. And in summary, this is exactly what happened. You're
it
like,
feels like when
okay.
you're writing a paper and it's got to be 6 pages and you're on 4 and you're like, just keep repeating yourself.
Let's just increase the font size on that period.
They won't know it's not 12.
Garrett, we also picked up another book and it's called
Wonder Woman Annual #1
oh yeah,
from Rebirth, written by. Well, here I'll do the teams. It was the first story was Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott. Second story was Vita Ayala and Claire Rowe. Third story was Michael Morecke and Colin Kelly with Stephanie Hans. And then the last story was Jackson Lansing with David LaFuente. I might have screwed up who those teams were all together, but I thought the first and last story of this annual were great. The ones in the middle, there was some art that was great. And then there was
I'll
one
have
I
to look
didn't
again
care
because I
for.
can't remember what.
So the first one was the Superman Batman,
Batman,
the
Superman,
Trinity one,
yeah.
basically.
That was awesome.
I thought it was good. It was
I like that
funny.
one too. It's short, but I think I liked it.
It was kind of like that's all humor in the movie, like all the Batman one-liners. Amazing,
I liked it. I also
keep you company. I don't get lonely, or however it's said.
but it's a powerful message. Like at the end when Bruce is mad, he's mad because of how great Diana is. He's like, she looked into our hearts and we looked into hers. We got a lot of work to do. That's what Batman says at the end
Yeah,
of that.
she's the best.
And I was like, That's great.
I also like when they're all holding the lasso. He's like, I'm Clark Kent Kal-El, and Bruce is like, I'm Batman.
Right.
He's like, because that's who he really is. She wants to know who they really are.
Can't deny Superman is being freaking annoying though. Like he was funny at some points. At some points, I was like, all right, Green Arrow, let's get out of here.
And so now Superman's being disrespectful by not leaving Batman alone.
It's also a little weird because it's rewritten history because it's like the new Superman, but this is in the past. So it's like that.
The whole thing with the new Superman is everything before New Superman. You don't worry about it.
That's what I mean. Like they rewrote it. King Shark was the second one. I actually like King Shark.
Yep.
That's cool.
I like this one that it wasn't. He's a monster, but he's not the bad guy.
That'd be cool if that was the next like storyline. That creative team took care of that because I thought that was very good.
Yeah, I liked it at the end. She's like, make sure, like, promise me you're going to do good. And he's like, no promises. She's like, of course. And he's like, thank you. And like that's how it ends. I
like that he wasn't the bad guy.
Yeah,
he was just in the wrong spot.
The third one was okay.
Well, I like the third one.
Yeah,
that was the one I really enjoyed the art on.
Yeah, I really like the art on this one too.
Because the nice thing about this whole annual was
never mind. Yeah, you're right. I like this one a lot.
It showed different parts of what Wonder Woman can be. She can be this friendly teenage girl in the first one. She can be this humanitarian, telling you don't just kill someone. You got to come to this consensus. You got to work through it. And then she actually has to kill her friend in the third one.
Right.
She goes, you're one of the best fighters I've ever had or ever fought with. Turns out you're cursed by a ghost that you decided to choose. The only way to stop you is to kill you, and I'm sorry.
Right. And he was like at the end, he was like, thank you. Like
Yeah.
I wanted you to do this. I know it sucked doing it, but I knew you would. I knew you would do it.
I actually like the last one a lot too.
And I like the kaiju thing.
The kaiju and
Kaiju one was awesome.
I
LaFuente's art.
The art was great.
I've always liked LaFuente's.
when he's mad and then she brings him to an island full of other kaiju. He's like, see, you're not as low as you thought you were. And it's a little, a little cheesy, but sometimes that's what you need. I mean, that's who she is.
It was cartoony. It was, but it was art that worked for that story.
I do like reading that annual kind of proves it to me, and actually seeing Wonder Woman the movie proves it to me. Because a lot of times you like to think that you like the anti-hero because it's cool to like somebody that's like a Wolverine. Yeah, he does bad things. And people do like I like the villain, he's badass. But I do like just somebody who's a hero because that's what like they like to do good. And that's who Wonder Woman is, that's who Superman is. And like I think there are two characters who are misunderstood, and like when people don't like him, it's because they're doing the opposite, trying to make him like, oh no, they're warriors. They're like Superman, he's all he is brute strength. Or Wonder Woman, all she is she likes to kill people. And it's like, no, that's not what makes them great.
Right.
What makes them great is they're both compassionate people.
Christopher Reeve getting the cat out of the tree. Like, no one normal would do that, but people that generally want to do good are going to go that extra step and do that.
Compassionate people doing the right thing because that's what they want to do, not because they have to do it.
I'm going to give this Wonder Woman annual a 9. Because all four stories were actually really good for different things.
I do think if you saw the movie you like it, you can get that.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
I told guest host one to read it, and he was like, I don't need to read more books. And I was like, that gets me pretty amped for that movie. 5
books. I think you get time for one more.
You had the day off today.
He pulled have you seen Dumb and Dumber before?
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Lloyd's leaving the gas station, and he goes, oh, big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. That's what your brother did to us. Badass, huh?
I thought
see you later.
I thought he was going to the bathroom and he didn't even say bye to me. I was like, all right, I guess.
He asked me what I thought. I said I liked it. He left.
That's guest host one's review. He just came over and was like, badass, huh? Well, see you later. He just walked
He
away.
even said he might get a DC book, jokingly. I know he's not going to.
Why?
No. I'm getting Wonder Woman anyways.
Yeah, so I thought those were.
Maybe he'll get Blue Beetle for you.
It was great. So if you're looking to get some Wonder Woman and you know what, jump in this one, and then is Greg's doing one more?
I think 25. Yeah, I think he's doing up to 25, and then after that, it's
that must just be like a epilogue.
No, I think 24 is the epilogue.
24 is an epilogue. I think 25 is like a one shot. Like, see you guys, don't cry. And then 26 is a new story. And like I was thinking after Rucka to drop Wonder Woman, I'm like, that movie's wanting me to stay on that book.
I don't.
She's a good character.
I think the only thing that I would drop Wonder Woman for is that I don't like the team, or I don't like.
Right.
If 26,
the art looks good.
If 26 is bad, then I'll drop it.
Yeah, every once in a while you get somebody who writes or doesn't know how to write.
But I can't stop getting Wonder Woman. I like that character far too much.
Secret Empire #3, written by Nick Spencer, art by Andrea Sorrentino with Rod Rice. This is the fifth tale of Secret Empire, #3 issue though. What do you guys think of Secret Empire and where we are right now?
I think as an event, it's actually a really good event. Every time I get started reading an issue, though, I go, God, this book is going to be wordy. But it's so good. The way that Spencer knows how to write Captain is good.
I enjoy it. The only issue, no, I shouldn't start with issues, whatever. Sorrentino's art is so amazing, but sometimes I have trouble just figuring out what character is which because you don't see much of their face. So there's points where there's like Black Widow. I'm like, but is that Black Widow?
Yeah.
But is it not? Yeah.
I think my problem is that I feel like this Sorrentino's art is actually lackluster. It's not as good as it is in other books.
I think
He's
they're
defined to borders. That's why.
I was going to say, yeah, they're telling him to tone it down a little bit, make it more conventional than he usually does.
That is too bad because I think the problem is that he's not as detailed as he normally like in Old Man Logan. Holy shit, his panels were great. His lines were fantastic, and there was definitive.
He might also be rushed, though.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's unfortunate that he's being rushed because it's not as good. It's not as crisp as it normally is, and that bugs me.
He does not know how to draw Sam Wilson. I didn't know that was Sam Wilson.
No, I didn't know it was Sam Wilson
until they're like Sam Wilson. I was like, oh shit, he doesn't even look like he's
bald.
He looks like he's Hispanic.
Yeah.
I was like, and also he draws the lips weird. Andrea,
Yeah.
It's like, is that a lip or did he have like some bomb blow up in his face?
His art is better for action, I think. Not really like the slow moments. I'm kind of like, I don't. It's not too. What's it called? Like opposite of linear. Like what's motion? I don't know.
Dynamic.
There we go. Dynamic.
So there was that part. I thought that part was actually pretty great with the Cap and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not Cap. Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
And the in their head or not in their head, whatever. I don't know what that is.
Steve
With the real
Rogers.
Steve Rogers. Oh, that was okay.
That's bumming me out. I really don't like that. Like, why can't we just stick with the whole story that Kobik made Cap believe this, and they just have to do something to get Cap to not
Shaken
believe
out
it
of it.
anymore?
Yeah, rather than he's fighting.
Right.
The thing I don't like about it is also what I was talking about before. Like, there's no subtlety to that. To physically show me him fighting his demons and coming back and like becoming his true self. Why not make that like a choice in like some silent panel? See that he's struggling internally, like some dialogue choices, rather than make it an actual part of the story where he's actually fighting to be back to be Steve Rogers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it a little more subtle.
I think the thing that the twist that I'm expecting that will turn him around is someone's death, and it obviously can't be
It's
any.
Sharon.
Well, the only person it would be Sharon.
Then they can bring her back young again.
She's the only one who he gives a shit about
Yeah,
because all of
I was
his
gonna
friends,
say.
holy shit, he could give two flying fucks what he does to them.
Hydra youth again, but they're not Nazis.
And I agree. I would like to see, instead of this mind game he's having, let him be just that Captain goes to his own chamber where he's just sitting by himself and he's just lost.
You know, because there's moments when he tries to do the good thing and like where he's saving people unattended, like so you can see that Steve underneath it, and I think that's all we need, rather than showing me like actually fight it where there was I forgot what it was, like he gave somebody the X-Men where he was like, I'm going to tell them
this issue.
No, it wasn't the last issue where he's like, I'm going to tell them that you guys are doing this against my will, but actually I want to save you guys. Like I really don't want to have a fight with you guys.
I don't want to fight you guys. You need to be out of this.
That's like a real Steve moment, and it's like that's enough for me to know that he's there, rather than show me that he's there.
I would believe that, except this issue took a different turn when he was basically like, yeah, destroy Atlantis. Like, send those bombs in and blow them up.
He doesn't like Namor, though.
That's true.
But
He's already conflicted about Namor anyway, so you turn him evil, and he's like, oh yeah, get rid of that guy.
fuck him.
The outside story with like Captain Marvel, I thought that was okay too.
They got to give him some attention and love to be like, hey, we're still in space. And it's
We're
still fighting.
Cool. Right.
See,
That's
I
awesome.
don't mind seeing the fighting. That was fine. It was actually the Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord where they're going to go plead with all the other races that fucking hate them and hate Earth.
I forgot about that part, and I hated that part too.
That pissed me off. And then he calls Danver and goes, yeah, they still hate us. I thought, no fucking shit, they still hate you.
I also thought it was like, oh, okay, here's the Guardians moment where we do jokes. Also, again, like I brought this up before, like, you know, where he like puts jokes in everybody's mouths.
Yeah.
Again, happened in this issue. I'm like, calm down, not everybody can joke around. I forgot who it was. I think it was like Sam or somebody like that. It was during one of those scenes where like somebody who's like not usually jokey did a joke, and I was like, everything doesn't have to be
Funny.
set up,
Right.
punchline. Something could be, let's just, have a serious moment for a second, especially in a book like this that he wants it to be really serious, but yet can't take itself seriously.
How about one of the coolest cliffhangers of all time? At that last page.
You'll have to remind me.
Punisher.
Oh,
Hydra.
Holy
Hydra
shit,
Punisher.
I hated that too.
You hated it?
Because has Punisher ever been a guy for government?
no.
So he's not he's not affected by the cube at all. That's
But he
his
could
choice
be-
to go with Cap to be a criminal.
So it's like, the only thing that would make sense, he would have had to also
You
been
think he would
under,
hate Cap?
but he also had to be under the cube's control.
That's what I mean. He has to be.
Because he
Could you-
can't. It's not out of his own brain. He's going, "Yep, I'm going to work for Cap."
Cap
No,
fucking destroyed Las Vegas. You don't think Punisher's like
the one
he's
person,
the bad guy?
the one person who would take Cap on now would be the Punisher. To go, fuck you. You're not who you're supposed to be.
Hey, just like in
You're gonna
Punisher,
die.
the Punisher Greco story, Cap was the one to bring him back because he respects Cap so much.
Yep.
I guess I
that
didn't
might-
think about it more, but I just was like, oh, Punisher.
I was excited to see the Punisher, and then I was disappointed that he wouldn't be working for Hydra without
The
being
real
under the spell of the cube.
character for Punisher in the story would be that he would see what Cap's doing and be disappointed and be like, how could he be
Blow
doing
his
this?
brains out.
Like, that's the guy I look up to, and now he's doing bad things.
I would
rather
rather have
than-
seen it be than at the when Cap dies from Crossbones. This is the part where you see the scope pointing at Captain, going, "I got the free shot," and the bullet gets sent. You pull back and you see it's Punisher who's doing the shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that would make sense. That's all I thought. I was just like, it seems weird. It seems like, Civil War II, there were a lot of things where they're like, well, we could have a bad guy. So let's make a lot of people were doing things they normally don't do, and they weren't them. That doesn't seem like him. Yeah, that was cool. But then I
Right.
thought about it. I was like, well, I don't think he would actually do that.
Unless
know
he's
what I
like brainwashed. or
Yeah,
something.
that's what. And I guess we don't know what's up with those other Avengers too that are on this time, Scarlet Witch and Vision, all those people.
But I think we're missing out on. There's other books that are related to this that are tied in that I don't get.
Nice try, Marvel. I almost got the Uprising one. Didn't do it.
I actually think that's a one shot.
Someone at the shop told me it was like 4-issue mini.
Oh, is it? Okay, never mind.
My thing, I'm not buying anything other than
Secret Empire.
Secret Empire. I even dropped another book, one for the change of team, but I don't need a fucking tie-in.
What book's that?
Doc Strange.
Doctor Strange. Okay.
Cool interaction between Mariah Hill and Black Widow.
I like the book.
where Mariah Hill was like, even I wouldn't do that for kids, and then it's like you see Black Widow like fuming, like
No, I believe Mariah Hill would. So she's a fucking liar.
well, I know, but like
I do like
still,
Black Widow though.
She like
like,
gets under her skin.
when they were having that training moment, and she's like, "You got to go for the kill. We're not messing around anymore." Like he literally blew up a city and then think twice about it. Like we're in kill mode now. Like we're here to play real. We're not playing heroes anymore. I thought that moment was cool. That's the thing about this whole thing. It goes from Nick Spencer understanding certain characters, Black Widow, Captain America, and then misunderstanding other characters completely. You know what I mean? And then having moments just to have moments, I feel like sometimes where, the Guardians moment was just to have a Guardians moment. It wasn't for
That
anything.
one wasn't needed. That was just bullshit.
So it was like a 7.
Yeah.
The art's great.
Yeah,
Like you said, though, it's a little like, it feels like Sorrentino, they're like, hey, we wanted to put you on Secret Empire. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to need this amount of time. They're like, no, this is coming out
yeah.
month
So
to
that,
month.
I think that's the thing that's bugging me right now is that one, all the faces look like Clint Barton. All the male faces, other than
Or Oliver Queen.
Yeah, that's what it looks like Oliver Queen.
or Oliver Queen. It's like, no, you all look the same.
By the way, I fucking hate those covers so much. It's like a cover within a cover. It's the same fucking cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So I open it and I can see the same thing twice and then get an ad.
You know what they probably did? They probably printed them
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like,
and charged that same price, and they're like, we better put some card stock on there.
yeah.
I'll admit I like the card stock. It's nice, but
They should just take out that second page.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it out and restaple it.
And still, every time it gets me, that fucking first page you flip, and there's that ad.
That's
for
what
the
I mean,
hotels.
yeah.
I'm like, God, no, why?
I don't notice that very
Even at
much.
the
I guess I'm
end.
not noticing that, but I'm not looking for it then. I'm just like, oh, I gotta read the book.
You don't turn the first page and you look at the first page?
I do, but I don't. It's not. I've gotten so used to when they had the Power Man fighting the Absorbing Man. I got used to that kid shaving his face. I was like, oh, whatever. It's always an ad.
What do you give the book?
7.
7.
7.
I have to admit, we've been agreeing on a lot of things tonight.
Nah, I said that. What was it? 7. Moon Knight.
No, I said agreeing on a lot, not everything.
Okay,
Douchebag.
Just want to show you that we're not
Fucking
agreeing on
listen to me.
everything.
Those are our review for this week, May 31st. We have Secret Empire 3. We have Moon Knight 14. It's 14? Killer Be Killed number 9. And
Wonder Woman
Wonder
Annual
Woman
number
Annual
one.
number 1.
Rebirth.
Wonder Woman Annual number 1. Check out any of those books at your local comic book shop in Sioux Falls in South Dakota or Lincoln, Nebraska. Rainbow Comics and Cards. Rainbow Comics and Cards. Looking for comic books, collectibles, board games, or any sports memorabilia or sports cards. The only place you need to shop in Sioux Falls or Lincoln, Nebraska. Visit their Facebook page, facebook.com/Rainbow Comics and Cards, or their Lincoln location at Rainbow Comics and Cards, Lincoln. Or find them online anytime at rainbowcomicsandcards.com. Let's get into our second feature, continuation of last week. Last week we had Garrett was Forgotten Foes.
Forgotten Foes.
And
Mostly Spider-Man.
And this week we have what?
Forgotten Friends. So Foes was last week. Friends is this week. All the heroes and allies that we miss.
I need a hero.
Right.
It's starting.
He's
I'm still
ramping.
tweaking the intro.
He's going up the ramp, and you just push him up.
Yeah. I'm like, no, Steve. I'm going
I'm
now.
already the king of
You
the
would
hill.
push him up it though. So imagine.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight, but
It's easier just to push it down.
don't worry. See, now I can't think. But basically, there's so many characters in all the universes that we read. We're feeling a little loss in one universe over the others. That's probably Marvel, because a lot of their characters are being replaced or hijacked, whatever. But there's also great replacements for these heroes, but still sometimes you miss those core people and who they are. So every time there's retcons, reboots, rebirths, what have you, there's always some heroes and characters that get put by the wayside. So this is just kind of putting a spotlight on them and being like, we miss you, we want you back. Like, hopefully that your character will get some shine back in the
You're talking
universe.
Jackson 5. We want you back, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll go
Start it.
first.
You go
Baby,
first.
come back.
Actually, so you were just talking about that, and I just realized, looked at my list, and I was like, I did not put one outside of DC.
Oh yeah,
on my
I was thinking
list.
all DC, but then I was like, oh wait, what about Marvel? Like,
But
that's the biggest
I
issue.
got
I
3
didn't-
Marvel, 2 DC.
I didn't even think about Marvel, but
Two Marvel,
I
two
actually
DC.
did just change it up because there's 2 Marvel that I like to see back. You know what? Actually, let's talk about the one I just added because we are segueing off of this Secret Empire review. Captain America Steve Rogers, like the actual Steve,
right.
That's my number 2.
like I said, like a hero being a hero because that's what they want to do. Like they're good because they are good, and that's Steve Rogers. And I feel like for a while, we haven't had that Steve Rogers. I feel like the last time he was that was the first arc of Recommenders.
The Zola.
Captain America.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm so nervous. Like, I know they're doing the reboot eventually for Cap and whatnot, but I'm nervous that the Secret Empire is going to end with him becoming Steve Rogers Captain America again, and then the next arc's boom, he's dead, and someone's going to
Punisher finally
replace
shot
him. Like, if he gets replaced as soon as he becomes good again, I'm just going to be like, I'm giving up Marvel. Like, I'm waiting for the reboot.
I had added on mine that it was Captain America, Steve with the shield, with his
shield.
round shield.
There's a lot of legacy with that shield, and I get he gives it to Sam, but when he came back as Cap, obviously this is Hydra Cap, but when he comes back, he needs to go up to Sam and be like, Sam, I need
don't-
my shield back.
I don't want it to be Captain goes to. I don't want Steve to go ask Sam. I want Sam to go, Cap, this is yours, and just go and not relinquish the power, but the respect that you are the Captain America.
Right.
That I was just keeping your shield warm. I'll take that sweet stabby shield you got because it goes well with my wings.
Put those on the end.
Yeah, so I miss reading a Captain book where I knew who that was. I think I know who Captain America is, but lately at least, I mean Hydra obviously is different, but even before that, when he was just fighting with Sam all the time or fighting with people and being an old guy. I mean, let's get back to being Hero Cap. That's what I want.
So does that skip you then if you just
Yeah,
kept
that'd
you?
be one of my ones.
All right, so one of mine, he's at the bottom of my list. I'm going to do mine from 5 to 1. I don't care. Booster Gold. Is he on your list, Marv?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, he's just so pivotal to the DC universe to have him not there. Like, new fans will have no clue who Booster Gold is unless you... I know, right?
I, Alex, have no fucking clue who Booster Gold is.
But
Other than he wears sweet gold shades.
You got to read your 52.
Is he in that?
Yeah, he's in the first page.
So,
So I know you haven't read it.
like, when there's anything big DC event-wise, like, Booster Gold is typically involved because he's from the future. So to have him not around, you know that like there's behind the scenes things going on with his character, and if there's not, that's a shame because like he's so important to the DC universe.
So that's a character I do. You're right. I do need to read 52 so I can find out who this character is because
I think you'll like him. And then there is some old runs with that because like Blue Beetle
like
and him
that would be up your alley.
Really?
Yeah.
Time travel.
Because I would like to see him team up with Blue Beetle. I was pitching this to Alan Travis, friend of the show, that they should do a Blue Beetle Booster Gold detective story, like detective book. That'd be so good.
I mean, that's why at first I was getting Blue Beetle because I thought Booster might show up, and then he hasn't been around. So,
Although,
what are you gonna do?
but friend of the show, Travis was telling us that they're referencing Justice League 3000, right?
Yeah. So that's why the same
And
creative
Blue
team.
Beetle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Fate's in there, so there's a lot of sizzle from that.
Blue Beetle. Booster Gold basically is a guy from the future
It's from the 31st century, I think.
that comes back to the past, knowing things about the future and having this technology and like trying to be a hero.
So what's his? Does he have powers? Does he have a suit that
He has
gives
a
him powers?
suit.
Suit and his robot friend. What's his robot friend's name?
Skeet.
Skeet.
Nice.
Skeet.
Or
Skeet.
Skeets, or whatever, however you say it.
I was thinking Skeeter from the Doug Show.
God, I miss Skeeter. Oh, that's a good show.
That was a good show. I got that Quailman shirt.
I think the thing I miss most about Booster Gold is he represents that old DC where they didn't care that they had a hero that was kind of cheesy and kind of like campy. Where like in New 52 happened and they're like, we're super serious.
Right.
You can't have this fucker around. Like,
Yeah, he was like bouncing all around that universe, and eventually they just like zap, he's gone.
and oh yeah, he was there at the beginning, and then he disappeared.
I think it was Convergence.
Literally disappeared in an issue. Never showed up again.
And what?
He like fades into non-existence.
Justice League International.
Yeah,
I thought he was an international for a while.
for a bit, and then
Then he disappeared when he saw Wonder Woman and Superman kissing. He's like, wait, that's not correct. And
Right.
he disappeared.
Oh, so now that even makes it more reason where he almost needs to show up.
Yeah, because
I'm
he
sure he's
remembered
coming
He would
back.
know.
he remembered Flashpoint. That's why he was like, what's going on
So
here?
he and Flash and Batman would be the even Batman didn't know.
He's
about
going
it,
to show
so-
up.
he is.
He's in
But
that
it's
jail
just-
probably.
Yeah, I would think so. But it's
What
like,
if he's
God,
the guy behind it all?
Honestly,
He was Mr. Oz. Oh shit!
what's your second, Marv?
Damn.
Oh, that was your second.
Yeah, so now it's
Yep.
John to you because we.
So technically, there's half a dozen versions of this character, I'm sure. I want the one that's still stuck in the metal adamantium.
That's on my list too.
I want
Wolverine.
Wolverine. I want the original Wolverine.
I'm getting old man Logan fatigued. I'm
Kinda.
sick of it.
I mean, I like the Old Man Logan book so far, but there's just something about the present day James Howlett that I want.
Right. He's more ferocious. Like I'm sick of like Logan the movie. I get why Old Man Logan's been coming out lately. It's because they're just like, we need that weathered Wolverine. Like let people see him.
You know, you were talking about that last week, and I feel like a part of it is that Marvel, when they have anything that's unique, or Marvel editorial, at least now, when they have anything that's unique and like a flash in the pan being like, whoa, look how great this thing is. Like it's different than what you're doing. Then they fucking like take it and pound your fucking face with it
Oh
over and
my
over.
gosh.
So like, oh man, Logan, that's a nice take on Wolverine. Well, that's going to be your fucking Wolverine, buddy. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I was reading, I'm catching up on All New Wolverine, and there's a flashback scene I was telling Alex about where it's James Howlett, like young Wolverine, and like their interaction, and I'm like, that felt so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read Old Man Logan, I'm just like, God, I'm just starting to get bored with this.
No.
Like he's just constantly depressing. It's like,
Well, he's always the Old Man Logan's stuck in the past and he
Yeah.
wants to fix things. Like, no, just be where you are. Because that was what's so good about the first 13 issues of Old Man Logan is he's just accepting this is where I'm at.
right.
And then he got stuck going, oh, I got to go back and do this shit. No. I don't know. I know Wolverine, much like Deadpool is now, was in everything. But I miss that. I miss that young Wolverine. I miss that guy who's just, when he kills his own son by drowning him, it's like, yes, do that.
I'm
Be
seeing
that
old man Logan being like, I can't run anymore.
I don't read Old Man Logan, so I can't really comment, but it feels like the younger Wolverine made more mistakes and like, you know what I mean? It wasn't so cynical. And like now you have this guy who like,
Right.
you know, had a family, lost a family, and is kind of like the more of the old mentor rather than the guy who's still trying to figure it out.
I guess for me, it's the when old man Logan is when he's in the X-Men team books, Wolverine is supposed to be the big gun. He's supposed to be that, you know, your job is to help protect us. You're the one who's supposed to take all these hits, all these, what would be a kill shot for everyone else. He's not. He's this kind of.
He's more like, hey, we need
pussycat
this door open. Can you slice it open
my claws don't work
so
like
we can
they
go
used
fight
to.
the bad guy?
Hang on,
Yeah.
they're coming. I'm working on it. It's like, no, dude, just
Right.
fucking headbutt that door down.
Well, since that was one of Garrett's also, let me bring up my next one. It's going to be, we just talked 2 Marvel in a row, so let me go DC again. I miss, and I don't know if this counts or doesn't count. I miss Batman, but Dick Grayson is Batman.
Holy shit, that's my number one. Dick Grayson Batman. Best. Yeah, you never read Dick Grayson Batman, did
Yeah,
you?
he did read Batman and Robin.
I've read Batman and Robin
Oh, yeah.
with Damien, and I've read the last, however many it wasn't Detective. Because
You should read the
Black Mirror?
Batman ones too, by Tony Daniel.
I never read those.
You should read those. But like, there was just something fun about him being Batman. It was new. Like, he wasn't brought down by Bruce's experiences like for his whole life, and it was just so fresh because like it's basically Dick has the same mission, but he's doing it like kind of like Wonder Woman's need to just do the right thing, not as the I have to avenge my parents and do this.
Yeah, I feel like the Dick Grayson Batman's kind of a throwback to like the Silver Age Batman, where it's more, like you said, it's less serious stories, which I like serious Batman, but I feel like every once in a while I just like that kind of like goofy Batman tale. Something that's just like how it was for Batman and Robin, where it was like kind of campy, but it's still every once in a while it was like had a serious villain. Like Professor Pig was pretty creepy and cruel.
Right.
But he was a guy in a fucking pit mask.
So I think for me, I'm stuck with the Bruce Wayne has always been my Batman. I like Dick Grayson. Actually, the Detective Comics Dick Grayson I loved him as Batman. The Batman Robin, I didn't get as much into that. And I think part of it is I'm not a big fan of Damian. Would you think I would like Damian being he's just a hard ass who wants to beat the shit out of everybody?
Well, now he's just like a super cynic. Back then, he was actually like he's always been a dick. But I don't like, when people think of his character, they think of him that cynical, like, I'm the best, blah, 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 blah.
Nowadays, he's kind of a whiny little bitch.
That's what he is now, yeah. Before, he was like, he knows he's the best. Like, you see him do things, you're like, yeah, I wouldn't. It's kind of like how not Spoiler, what's the girl's name? In Detective right now.
Stephanie?
No, the other one.
Cassandra?
Yeah, the orphan or whatever.
Yeah.
How she's seen now is what Damon used to be seen like. Like, he was like,
Yeah.
he'd
That
fucking kill
awesome.
you all.
Yeah.
But now they make, whatever.
Well,
Again,
I mean,
orphan.
in Batman and Robin, I think they really did take that character and evolve him to a point where him and Dick were like friends and like equals, and he saw them as that, and he was over being the hard ass.
Right.
And then he died and came back, and he lost all that.
Yeah.
He went back
they made
down
him a
the way.
dick.
But he was that way in the Nightwing story where they were teaming up together. And was like, yeah, I like that Damian. He's still
he was still too cynical for me. I mean, he was. It was an awesome issue because we paid homage to that.
I mean, he was a dick. Okay, I'll admit he was even more dickish. But I think at that point he actually felt like he's being replaced by this girl.
Right.
I was like, okay, I thought we were bros, but you got this girl now.
And I really like Nightwing, but I feel like it always feels like when I read Nightwing that he's dealing with like C-level villains.
Yeah.
To me, he's always Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
as Nightwing even.
So when he's Batman, it's like, okay, now this is him dealing with Batman's villains.
Like,
so it
yeah,
feels
the
like
main
there's more.
rogues. Yeah.
So that's why I want to see him come back.
That legacy
fun.
change to that was just a great time in comics. Loved Dick as Batman.
Maybe Bruce, when he hangs up the cape for a second, Dick can come back for a little bit.
Yeah, and then they'll do Old Man Brucey.
This is the end. This is that was my theory. What was it? It was I am Suicide. No, I am Batman. I am Suicide. I am Bane. And then there was that, Swamp Thing. And then there's War of Jokes and Riddles. And then I think the last one's going to be I am Wayne. Because he's going to hang
I want it to be I am retired.
You know what?
I am done.
That'd be awesome because, Tom King worked with Tim Seeley on Nightwing. So that'd be cool for Tim Seeley to be like, since
Not
he's
anymore,
going to
baby.
Hellblazer. Huh?
Is Timmy done?
No,
with
he's
Nightwing?
coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just for 2 issues.
Oh, yeah, you told us that.
Yeah.
My hope would be then if I'd be fine with Nightwing coming in. I guess my thing is I'm not as much into the lighthearted. To me, Batman is always brooding, and him being lighthearted doesn't bug me. It's not. I'm always aware that it's Dick Grayson.
But it's fun having a Batman that's not the master expert, kind of someone that knows his stuff, but still has room for error. That's not 100% flawless.
Yeah, I think at this point they've written Bruce into a corner where he's like, why didn't he know how to do that? He's the best.
And
of the best.
I agree that it's.
You got to make him fallible on some point.
I guess that's the reason why hashtag not my Batman in Tom King is that there's things that to me Bruce would know and Bruce would do.
He did. He realigned his own back.
Of course, that's
You
how
didn't like
that's
it.
how I did it when I got mine
Here,
broken.
I'm going to stretch backwards. I fixed my
Watch
back.
my legs go above my head and snap.
Alex, what's your next one?
So I'll bring us back to Marvel one last time, at least for me. I got Charles Xavier.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That I don't.
Xavier's been gone a while.
I don't need the old one that's dead.
He's been gone for 5 years.
But with the X-Men in blue, it's like, God, you guys could bring back your younger Professor X
Hey, there's...
and let him
Did
be
you
a
read
part
that
of it.
letters page of X-Men Blue 1?
I'm going to let you hear that question in your own head and know the answer is no.
How come you just... There's so much more information you could have. Literally, Cullen Bunn's is that Professor Xavier? It could be. It might not be. I don't know. Basically, it means it probably is.
For who?
There's a voice calling out to the original X
Oh, I see. Okay.
in blue, and he's like,
Whoa, I'm behind on Blue, baby.
you haven't read issue 1?
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
You're up
so
to
go
3, I thought.
So go watch Argo. Let me explain this.
I haven't read 4 yet, but have you?
I haven't
Was
read
it good?
4. That's the one
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Was 4 good? Okay.
Yeah, 4 is good. So that blue is the golden star of that hole.
Yeah, and
No,
he's come
gold
back.
was shit. We talked about this.
All right, how many do you have left?
I've got 2.
2?
Yeah.
Because you go again now. Because I have 2 left. Because you started.
Oh, okay. But I was talking about Xavier for a second here.
Okay.
Yeah,
good talk.
because people have been saying that X-Men's felt lost for a little bit, and I think Xavier would be a good way. And I think actually it's finding its footing finally. But I think Xavier would be like, hey, they're back. They're back on course.
I think Xavier's just he's not a character that I'm a fan of, but he is a staple for that franchise.
He's the backbone.
Yeah. Oh,
Couldn't there be
but
some?
umpumch.
He's
Couldn't there be some storyline where, basically, if they did bring young Charles Xavier in from the past or whatever, that he could find his dead brain, absorb all the memories, or something like that? Some crazy convoluted.
But that
story.
would
I mean,
impl-
that's X-Men. They would
Right.
do something like that.
But that would
Yeah.
never mind. This is stupid.
Um,
I'm going to say logically, the brain was thought to have functionality to it.
Since
Can't just
you-
pull shit out of dead.
brought it to Marvel. Let me keep it there for a second.
Sounds good.
I am going to miss, and this is also maybe stretching the definition of this feature a little bit. But
You say Rick Jones.
R.I.P.
He's been gone 2 weeks, man. It's okay.
Oh, by the way, we didn't mention in Secret Empire there was Hank Pym. 2 seconds.
Well, he's on the cover of the next issue. So.
Oh,
No.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
I miss Doctor Strange, but I miss when you go back and read before the end of Secret Wars, Doctor Strange used to be a guy who was always trying to be the best of the best. He was super powerful. He was one of the most powerful people in Marvel. And then they gimped him for some reason. Like he lost all his
Yeah, so
magic.
they made him a cheap shit right now.
They made him into this guy, and I feel like they did that just because the movie came out, and they got to make him about this guy who doesn't know everything anymore,
Right.
to make him start back at being like a beginner. But how are you gonna make him a beginner when he knows everything? Well, you take away his powers. So like I missed like the uber strong like Doctor Strange that.
The actual Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, the guy who in Avengers and New Avengers, Hickman's run. Spoilers, by the way. Alex knows the whole thing, but he hasn't read it. When he goes to the black market, like the magic black market, and he sells his soul for power, and she's like, "How much do you want to sell?" And he's like, "All of it." Like that's the way he was. He was like, "I'm going to be the best because I'm going to prove that I'm the best." Like that's his whole gain in life was being the best at what he did.
Right.
And can't really do that now when you don't have that much powers. Which also, like, I stopped reading that book a while ago, so I'm not sure if he's like getting back in his own way. No.
I mean, he's getting power, but he's nowhere near what he was. He keeps getting the shit kicked out of him by everybody.
And yeah, it's a little hard to write for when you have somebody who is like super strong. But I think also it's also a nice challenge for writers to figure out how to do a different story when you have somebody who like can beat anything.
That's why I feel like Marvel has a crutch. It's either hero loses power trying to find their legacy, or like villain finally wins and needs to get their legacy back again. Like there's just
they become a hero and they got to figure out how to be a hero.
right.
Or they got to duke it out between heroes.
Like where's the villain?
I feel like a lot of those are like crutches for writers because it's like, oh, I know how to tell a story about somebody who doesn't have powers, and rather than being like, okay, this guy's already at level 100. How do you write a story about a level 100 sorcerer rather than being like level 1? Oh, I can start level 1. I know how to do an origin story.
Right.
It's like, no, this guy's level 100. Where do you take him from there?
Easy. Do a Sinister Six, magic style.
Might not be bad.
Laying it down.
Alex, what's your last one there?
I hit two.
Yeah. Remember you're starting
what's your second to
Number
last?
one. Oh, yeah, you
Second
did
to
Doctor
last.
Strange.
It's kind of, he's only been gone for a while, but he's one of the best Robins out there. I miss Tim Drake. I miss me some Red Robin.
But he's still around.
I know I know he's not dead,
He's hanging out with Booster Gold.
but he's disappeared.
He is good. That detective. Remember in the detective?
I remember
arc?
reading that issue. That was a hard issue to read.
I've never been a huge fan of Tim.
What the?
Best detective out there.
Best
Yeah,
Better than Bruce.
I get that, but I don't know. Like when he died, I was like, "Oh, that sucks." And I was like, "But at least he's got two others." Like,
He's the second best Robin.
who's the first?
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson.
Exactly.
Dick Grayson, Tim Drake. That's it.
Yeah. And say I could deal with that Red Hood or Damien.
I know Damien's not the best Robin because Robins don't kill. So
It's just one of those. He's a character that I've noticed he's gone. And it's
yeah,
like, oh,
He's always the guy that always played second fiddle to everything. So they always push him to the side, but he is a great character.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's the thing about, and I don't know if I don't know why. It might be because it's easier, but I see a lot of times writers gravitate towards writing the people that they know, Batman, Dick Grayson, whereas you get these people like the Booster Gold, like the Tim Drake, that are like these people who don't get much spotlight. And I find them more interesting to write about than you would with other ones because there's less about them. So if you're really going to make something your own and do something, why not with these people who are always in the background rather than the people that they have a million stories about? You know what I mean?
right.
And like Tim, like you said, he's the best detective book.
So I always find that with
Red Robin, let's go.
Even
That
Bruce
was
telling
great.
you that he's better than Bruce is at detective work. That
Red Robin book's pretty great. That
That
came
it's-
out pre New 52.
oh really? That make his own book and let him be Detective Red Robin.
And then New 52 came out and they made him shit. He was horrible.
Leader of the Teen Titans.
Although I will admit I like that. I like the Red Robin outfit. For some reason, I like the
Yeah.
feathered cape.
Yeah. It looked okay.
What?
I like his original one, pre New 52.
With the hood or the
Yeah.
mask that makes him look like Space Ghost.
Coast to coast. Garrett, what's your second to last one?
Bruce Banner Hulk.
Bruce Banner Hulk. They're saving that for some reason.
Well, I know they're doing that Weapons of Totally Awesome Destruction or whatever the hell it's called. I'm getting it.
Who is that for, by the way?
What do you mean?
Like, who sees that and goes, Yeah, I wonder what Hulk would be like with Wolverine claws. Who gives a shit? The Hulk can kill anything.
I don't care that they're they're both the same, but I feel like Bruce Banner's coming back in this storyline. That's what I'm getting at.
Like, what is it like from a logical standpoint point of view? Like Alex does, what's the point of having those claws if you're already the Hulk? Like, what's it gonna do?
So you can jam the fist. The claws will let the body open up, and then you jam the fist through the body.
That he could do regardless.
No, it'd just be a giant bruise.
Like that scientist was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna combine these two, and then his intern's like, but you have the Hulk already.
The only thing that would make sense.
They're gonna have adamantium skin because like they have Hulk's DNA. I read the prelude issue. They have Amadeus Cho's DNA. They have Lady Deathstrike and Apache's abilities. Warpath, yeah. Not Apache.
Why not just clone Amadeus Cho?
See, the only thing that makes sense
Because no one wants a giddy Hulk.
is that if you were to mix the Weapon X team do it, not only would you get the claws, no one gives a shit about that, but you'd get their instincts. You get the best tracker. You get flight.
That's true. Hulk is not a great fighter. He just has brute strength, so like he just
So
keeps
you're going to get more technique out of this Hulk.
That was what was great about Red Hulk. He was both of those because he was
Especially with
Thunderbolt.
the stash.
Dead. And probably not, but gone.
Jeff Parker's Hulk series was great about Red Hulk.
Yeah, I just, thankfully we have the Jennifer Walters Hulk book going on that deals with that whole Bruce Banner internal demons. That like it's very similar, like the Fear storyline.
Yeah.
Which, it's fine that Bruce Banner is always afraid of becoming the Hulk. But I like it when he actually controls the Hulk like everybody does. So I wish they could do that, but not have like the Hulk take over for Bruce and like use Bruce's intellect with the Hulk to actually do, because they do that for a time where Hulk just takes over the consciousness of both of them. But I want to see them get past the Fear storyline and then take Bruce Banner Hulk and face him against different threats. That's not like, oh shit, I'm afraid. Ah, I'm Hulk again.
I want to see an Abomination story.
Yeah.
Which sounds like this thing with the Weapon X. That's pretty much an Abomination right there.
Yeah.
My last one is somebody we haven't seen in a while. I think the last time we saw her, I guess it depends which one you're going for. I think they were trying to do something with Pandora around this time with the Question. I think she showed up for a little bit when it was by that
Last
point.
time was Convergence, but that doesn't really count, I guess.
I didn't read that, so it doesn't count in my book.
I just read the main story, not the side shit.
The question actually that I want to pitch is a couple weeks ago I talked about restarting Vertigo, Swamp Thing, Hellblazer. Let's do the Question Vertigo book. Like, let's take it. You know how Mother Panic is like a young animal take on Gotham and like it's more serious. Let's do that also. It's in it's in its own continuity, but it's in Gotham and everything. And
Is this Renee Montoya, the
it's
Question?
Renee Montoya, the Question. Like, because she's around.
Right.
She's not the Question anymore. At least I don't think so.
Not that
I haven't been keeping up with Batwoman.
She was a detective. Just as
yeah,
a
she's just
cop
Renee.
reporting to a scene.
So like, bring that character back, and I think Renee would be a good choice to bring it back as the Renee Question, and then let's take it seriously. Let's make it like a solid, like hard-boiled detective book that is in the DC universe. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think that's something that they're missing a little bit is serious takes on their universe. They used to do that every once in a while, and especially Marvel does it with like their Max series. But like, they kind of get both publishers kind of away from that a little bit.
Yeah, Vertigo and Max. I don't know if they're spending all their efforts and time on the core stuff, but
at least when DC's doing it towards the core stuff, it's actually working out well. Rebirth is pretty solid.
yeah,
I'm feeling like Marvel, they're kind of floofy on what they're doing. Some books they really support, other books they don't.
Alex, what's your last one?
Now, Garrett, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but my last character, I don't think I've seen in a long time. He died in BVS right away.
motherfucker. That's my number one.
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy fucking Olsen.
I didn't know that was his real name.
You bastards. Okay. Let's go over. I was talking about this with somebody at work today. First off, if we're talking movies, Man of Steel, you change Jimmy Olsen to Janie Olsen. don't fucking kid me. I know you did it. Okay? I'm fine. Whatever.
That's Jimmy's cousin.
But then you have the audacity. And Snyder, I know you're going through a rough patch right now, and I'm sorry for what's happening. But how dare you use Jimmy Olsen as a freaking figurehead to just get shot in the head for no freaking reason? BVS, no less. So
He wanted to prove to you this character is dead.
yeah, he wanted to be like, we like
gone.
Janie Olsen. But was it that annual I was reading today? I think that Jimmy Olsen's in there for a couple minutes.
What annual? Trinity?
No, for Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah, because like they're in.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
they're in Metropolis
Yep.
for a second. You see Jimmy, and I'm like, oh, it's Jimmy. Like that's Jimmy right there.
Jimmy calls him Jimmy, so you're right.
Right, and it's I don't know. He's missed. Like there's a lot of like when they're back at the Daily Planet for the new Superman storyline and everything. I'm just like, this would almost be perfect if Jimmy Olsen was around. And like they say he's dead, they say he's not dead. I'm like, I need definitive answers on what Jimmy Olsen's life is at. Because in Action Comics, with Grant Morrison, he was living with him.
Yeah.
And then there was no story that killed him.
Right there. Red Hood.
Yeah. He's a couple pages ahead. I thought he was. I don't know.
But it's just one of those
Thought you
things
see
that
the camera.
I was working on this list at work, and I was like, you know what? Who I don't think I'd seen in a while is Jimmy Olsen. Not that I miss him, but it's someone that I think is a staple in the Superman.
Do you
lore.
think that he should get his own book again? Superman's.
I'd be fine with
best
it
friend?
because, like,
Pal?
what they would use that as, it's taking a human's perspective of what's going on in the DC universe, and I think that's what is missing is getting that perspective of heroes live all around me without actually having the superhero plot the main point of the book. Having it more like it's kind of like Jessica Jones, like when she gives up being a superhero. Like there's all these superhero events going on around her, but she still has her own storyline that she's following. It just happens these universes interweave and intertwine with what the actual story for her is about, which ends up being a superhero story. But
Yeah, but it'd be like Gotham Central. You're getting this point of view from someone other than Batman,
right,
but he still makes an appearance from time to time or referenced.
right, and it could be. I mean, the storyline could be like, well, my best friend's Superman.
My only friend is Superman.
Right. My boss is his wife. Like, what's my point in all of this? Like, I take
like, what does he
pictures.
think that there used to be an old Superman that there's a new one? I guess he probably doesn't remember.
Again, they wiped that all away. They're just like one continuity bitch
Why are they going to wipe his mind?
because they don't want anyone asking.
That's
questions.
not good
Only
for the
Batman
brain.
and Wonder Woman know.
That's not good for his brain.
And they did that in Trinity. They said that aftermath. They were like, oh, only you guys know. Don't tell anybody. And then they're never going to talk about it ever again. I guarantee.
So wait, they do know? Those two?
Batman and Wonder Woman know.
So how come in this annual she wasn't like,
I haven't read the annual.
oh, this is before she knew. Never mind.
But still, Jimmy Olsen is like sorely missed. I think he's a huge part of the Superman mythology, and to like do all that Superman rebirth and rebrand him and everything and not to have Jimmy in there, like you already took away his parents. I don't even get one fucking
You know,
cat
odds
parent.
are Jimmy got taken by Mr. Oz.
That'd be cool. But
Of course.
You know he's in that issue.
Jimmy's like the Rick Jones of the DC universe.
Dead. Shot in the head.
Burn.
We never get to see it.
Those are our forgotten friends. Please bring them back. Or bring back a good version of them.
Can we kill off other heroes to bring ours back?
This is going to be weird for people to hear, but remember that story I told you about, that concept I had about that Alaskan story?
Yep.
Batman?
I thought about maybe changing it to like a question story.
Do it. Why is it? But question going to Alaska, is that really the questions? Is that in his wheelhouse?
It is why I write it that way.
True.
Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. Email us your forgotten friends. Top 5. Like I said, long form. Give me a paragraph. No. Or if you want to do short form, if you like the 144 character limit, Twitter's your baby of choice. Email or get at Alex Mastrello, at Garant2188, or at Marvin_Sagoro, or talk to the whole crew, the whole show at Wednesday Comics. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter because you don't want to miss when the show comes out. It'll let you know right away. Or on Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Like us on Facebook and be notified right away when the show was out. I'd be interested to see if anybody subscribes to the show, but it's not liked us on Facebook. Like, what's the point? You think you would like us on Facebook?
We do like those likes on Facebook. You know those hearts we used to get on SoundCloud? We don't want those. We want likes on Facebook.
Speaking of iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, go ahead and subscribe to the show there. Rate the show, review the show. Go ahead and, even if you don't have an iPhone, you can still do this. Go to iTunes, find some way to get on iTunes and rate the show on there. 5 stars. You know why?
Well, 5 stars.
Because there's not a 6-star option. Find us on SoundCloud underneath the SueEmpire.com page. We get listed there every week. If you enjoy SoundCloud, if that's your listening app of choice, SoundCloud. Leave the hearts on SoundCloud. Let them know, Sue Empire know that you like listening to Wednesday Comics. Make sure to visit our sponsors at rootsoftheswampthing.com. Like I told you, if you don't know Swamp Thing by now, missing out. People are going to know about them in a year, and you're going to say, I missed out. I could have known about them beforehand. Because you know what's a cool thing in comics? Knowing about stuff before you go. Go to
I wonder who coined that phrase, Marvin. Probably just you just now.
RainbowComicsandCards.com.
Sounds like an NBC thing. The more you know.
RainbowComicsandCards.com. Go there and purchase some books. Any of these books you can get. Go ahead. Wonder Woman Annual, right to your house. Moon Knight 14, right to your house. Won't know what's going on, but you'll get it. Secret Empire 3, you're 5 behind, baby. It goes 1, 2.
No.
1,
0.
0. Free comic
0,
book day?
1 free comic book day.
Who knows?
2,
I read
3.
it and I don't know what order it is. I wonder if there's some other books that came out too if you want to get the Trinity Annual. Cable number 1. Hadrian's Wall, number 7. Yeah. Okay.
I had to think here. I wasn't sure.
Get any of those books at RainbowComicsandCards.com or find them on Facebook at Rainbow Comics and Cards or their Lincoln location at Rainbow Comics and Cards Lincoln on Facebook. See, look at that. I do that so much that I remember all that information. That's this week's show. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got a Wonder Woman review. We talked about Forgotten Friends. We talked about 4 books. Next week, Big 5-0.
Nice.
5-0. We're 50. We turn 50.
Big 5-0.
What's something else? You know, like they said. But how long do you need to do something for it to become habit?
21 days.
21 days, baby. We're doing this for 50.
Does that make me an alcoholic?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go on rehab to get myself out of the podcasting if I want to get out of this. Now I'm addicted.
I drink beer 21 days.
50th episode is going to be just a different episode than usual. We're not going to talk about any reviews, so if any books come out next week you want us to hear about, find us on Twitter. We'll tweet about it. We'll Facebook about it. We'll go ahead and email us. We'll talk to you one-on-one in email. I'll do it. Long form? You want to talk long form? You don't know why I keep bringing on long form. Show me your long form ID. Your birth certificate.
Oh, see, this is cyber phishing right now.
So no reviews, and then
invasion of privacy.
And then we're gonna have a normal week again. So we'll, but let me get you excited here. After that, another milestone, 1 year anniversary.
See, we're like the 51 and the new 52. That was the actual one, and then they did like a bunch of guest writers for
the 50th is the big issue. That's the big one we charge $6 for.
Right.
52 is going to be our annual. So that's also
the one where you're asking,
$6.
why am I still spending $6?
You're like, isn't this shit over already?
That's going to be an intimate show, all 3 of us. Who knows? There might be some drinks. Who knows? There might be a new special feature that go ahead and find us on YouTube and subscribe. Like give you that hint.
Wednesday Comics.
We're going to reboot 52.
Rebirth.
We're rebooting.
I want a rebirth.
Rebirth. New
scary.
Wednesday Comics Rebirth. Starting at issue 52.
It'll actually be 50.
But I'm reborn every day. My name is Marvin.
Shit. God, I'm Alex.
I just got Old Man Logan. I'm Garrett.
God. You keep turning those pages, everyone.